Welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
The master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes. Yeah.
Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Serial Sensei. We are on episode number 122. As always, you can check out this podcast on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes. If you're on iTunes, please rate, subscribe, and leave a review. You can also listen to us on Spotify as well as Google Play. Hit us up on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page as well as the Instagram page. Follow me on Twitter at Serial Sensei if you choose to do so. And you can send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. With that being said, as always, I'm joined with my co-host, the Anti-Cool. What's going on, man?
Not much. I also like to throw out, you can follow the Dojo Talk Podcast on Instagram. Because we are on the gram now.
Yes, we're on the gram. Trying to be more active. It's hard because, like, Instagram is just all pictures.
Yeah, no link.
So I have to, like, just make up pictures.
Hey, you gotta start stealing content, man. It's like, oh my god, this knockout, and it's a video you blatantly ripped off of YouTube or some poor fight promotion's Facebook.
Hey, man,
that's what I do, just on Tumblr.
They'll appreciate it, you know, free promotion to like the 20 followers, or whatever.
No, we build the brand.
Yeah. But yeah, we're on the gram, so if you're on the gram, follow us on the gram. Sometimes I do actually post videos of fight reactions of when people get knocked out. So trying to navigate the Instagram waters. But yeah, if you're on the gram, give us a follow on there also.
All right, so I have an idea for how for the best fight reaction. So UFC 235 is coming up, right? You go to the bar or wherever people watch fights. Like, I don't know. Do they show fights at Hooters? Whatever. You go, and when Anthony Smith knocks out John Jones, you get that reaction.
That could work. I got a spot up here that I think, yeah, they actually do pretty good with hosting fights. I've never been, but they seem to promote it. So that actually would be a pretty nice reaction. Half the reaction would be like, who is Anthony Smith? Like,
I'd like to point out they released, I guess, the trailer or the promo for John Jones versus Anthony Smith, and there was more Anthony Smith in that trailer, in that promo, than there was Amanda Nunes when she fought Ronda Rousey. Like, why? Like, it's John Jones' story. Like, if we're being real here, like, he's the one who's going to make the pay-per-view sell like 300,000, 400,000 buys.
I don't know, man. That Anthony Smith fan base. Where's he from again? He's from like Nebraska or something.
I want to say he's from like. I want to say he's from like California,
I feel like he's not from like a big city.
Yeah, like he's like from a small town in California, I think. Let me check. No, he's from Texas.
Well, where does he train?
Oh, he trains in Omaha.
Okay, yeah.
With affiliation, disorderly conduct.
That's a gym name? That's a gym?
It is.
God. Well, I mean, hey, man, disorderly conduct got him to a title shot, so what do I know?
Anthony Smith's out here drinking in the park.
I mean, you're in Omaha. There can't be. I imagine after sparring, there isn't much else to do when you close the gym doors. So
you go get some Pabst Blue Ribbons, set up shop in the park, and you just catcall all the high school girls who pass you by.
Jesus Christ.
Oh God.
Shout out to Anthony Smith.
I hope he does it. This sport needs more stupid shit. Like John Jones losing to a Victor.
if Anthony Smith knocks out John Jones, oh boy, I'm not gonna know what to do with myself. I'm not ready to handle that storyline. But what are we ready for? The way this sport works, and but we'll get to it in a few minutes. Just all the curveballs and things that this sport just they find new ways and innovate to disappoint you. Like it's always something new, always something fresh to keep you on your heels. But real quick before we get started, shout outs always to the listeners, Twitter folk, Tumblr folk, wherever you guys like to listen to this podcast from. We appreciate you. Top cities for the week as far as listeners: number 1, Everett, Washington; number 2, Dallas, Texas; number 3, Saratoga Springs, New York; number 4, Halifax, Canada; and number 5, I guess they heard our call and they answered, Cairo, Egypt. You know, back in the mix at number 5. So
Just gotta talk down to them and then they'll show up.
So, shout outs to Cairo, man. We appreciate you guys. Just real quick before we get started, if I sound a bit nasally, I didn't know it was gonna be this cold this morning. I woke up and I stuck my foot out the blanket and immediately got chills, and I looked at my phone and I saw that it was 15 degrees outside, and my nose in response just started oh, it's cold, so we gotta shut off now. So if I sound a bit nasally, my bad. And also I don't think I slept weird, but while I was watching the main event last night, I was leaning on my bed, and what I'm realizing now was probably very bad posture. And I stayed like that for all 3 rounds. So now the whole, my chest and my neck and my arm, when I just move, it just kind of hurts because, I'm old and I have bad posture. So I can't do that anymore. So when I make certain movements, I'm in pain. So if I sound like I'm wincing, my bad. Even laughing kind of hurts. But I'll make it. We'll live. We'll live through the episode.
Gotta persevere, bro.
Yeah. After this, I'm gonna do some stretches.
These people need this UFC 234 hot takes.
I'll make it. But before we get to 234, there were some other happenings as far as fights goes. But we'll start with news and notes of the week first, and then we'll briefly run through a few other fight cards, and then we will get on to UFC 234. But starting with the fight news and announcements of the week, not the busiest week, but a few interesting things going on here and there. And I actually have a few questions for you that I want to get your opinion on real quick.
Hey.
But for fight announcements, one of the big ones, Alistair Overeem will be fighting Alexander Volkov at UFC St. Petersburg. This will be on April 20th. And that will be the headline. I actually really enjoy that fight. I feel like that should be that fight can go a lot of ways. I feel like there's a myriad of ways that fight can end, and I'm looking forward to either of them. And also on that St. Petersburg card, we will also have Roxanne Modafferi and Antonina Shevchenko. Moving down the list, we'll have Glover Teixeira versus Ian Cutelaba. That fight has been rebooked and will now be on UFC on ESPN 3. On the UFC Philadelphia card in March, we will have Kevin Aguilar versus Enrique Barzola. At UFC London, Cesar Ferreira is out of his fight against Tom Breeze. Replacing Ferreira will be Ian Heinisch. This hurt my heart. Unfortunately, Song Yadong is injured. He is out of his fight against Alejandro Perez. Coming in place of him will be Cody Stamann. So Stamann versus Perez will be going down at UFC 235. Quick little news note for the UFC that I thought was kind of funny. Khabib has chosen to bypass his anti-bullying ultimatum. So he will serve his full 9-month suspension instead of getting it reduced to 6, because Khabib does not care to talk about anti-bullying. Moving on down to Bellator on May 4th, we'll have Brent Primus versus Tim Wild. I want to say that's the headline of whatever card that is. And also a quick news and note on Bellator, especially for fans overseas. Bellator signed a deal with Sky Sports in the UK and Ireland. This deal pretty much starts with the MVP versus Daily card, and pretty much what that means is if you're in the UK and in Ireland, you'll be able to watch the fights live now. So you can stay up till 3 a.m. until your heart content, and and then watch Bellator at 3 a.m. in the morning. But you'll be able to see it live, no tape delay or anything like that. So that was cool. I thought that was a cool thing that Bellator did. Going down to Rising 15, they put 3 more fights on that card. We got Roberto De Souza versus Satoru Kitaoka. I probably said that wrong. My apologies. We'll also have Manel Cape versus Seichiro Ito and Koji Takedo versus Damian Brown. That's all going down on Rising 15. Over in One Championship, the welterweight title will be on the line. Sebastian Kadestam will be defending his belt against Georgi Kishigan. That's going down at One Championship, Reign of Valor, and that'll be on March 9th. And last fight announcement, friend of the show, Jose Shorty Torres. He will be fighting at Brave CF 22 on March 15th against Amir Albazi. So be on the lookout for that. Got to support the homie, Shorty Torres. So now that I got the fight announcements out of the way, just 2 quick little mini MMA subplots, sub storylines going on.
Wait. Did you mention OSP?
Oh, he has a fight?
He got pulled. He pulled out of his fight with Misha Serkinov at UFC 235. But guess who volunteered to step in?
Please tell me. Is it Santos?
No, it's almost as good. It's Johnny Walker.
Hey, there we go. That's what I want to hear. And that would be a good win for him if he pulls that off.
Yeah. And it's a very winnable fight because Misha Serkinov can't eat a punch clean.
Yeah.
let alone a head kick.
And Johnny Walker is really good at both of those. So, yeah, that's good. I like that. That'll be... Because Serkinov is ranked, right?
I believe so. Like,
there we
bottom 15.
Yeah, so that's good. So if Walker goes in and does Walker things, as he normally does, hopefully that next week he'll have a ranking number next to his name. Albeit rankings don't mean what they used to, but, it's something. So, shout out to Johnny Walker. That's awesome. Glad he stepped up and took that fight. So yeah, two little mini subplot stories that I just wanted to briefly touch on before we get into the fights. What are your thoughts on this whole Daniel Cormier not really feeling the whole Stipe rematch? This seems to be like an ongoing argument that I keep seeing more and more of.
From what I can tell, Stipe and DC were both told after their last fight, or after their fight, that the next opponent for them would be Brock Lesnar. Now, Brock Lesnar is a guaranteed $1 million buy rate, which is tens of millions of dollars for anybody who can get it, who can get that fight. And DC has said he wants to retire in like a month, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So if he has one fight left, I do not blame him for wanting the Lesnar fight. Does Stipe deserve a rematch? Sure. But, I mean, just based off recent history of the UFC, like, and based off like what they were promised, like, I get it. Like, if I'm DC, like, I want the Lesnar fight. I don't want anything to get in the way of that. Like, there's a man who almost had to pull out his last fight because he sneezed too hard the day of the fight. Like he is probably not all physically there anymore. Like, he knows, like, clock's ticking. He's about to be 39. He's got all this other stuff going on in his life. He just wants let the man get paid and go home. Like, that's my feeling.
Yeah, I see both sides. Like, if you're Stipe, you were the longest reigning heavyweight champ. You were in the, well, I don't say you were in. He's in the GOAT category of heavyweight. So, I mean, I would say based on his merits, I'm not mad that he wants a rematch, and I guess I'd even go as far as to say I think he's kind of earned that. But on the other hand, I think the only thing that's ultimately stopping him from getting the rematch, and I think the reason he probably won't get it, is because he got starched. Like, it wasn't like it was a really close, it wasn't like a barn burner. Like, we had went 5 rounds and we went to war. Like, DC just kind of, he just kind of knocked him out. And then, like you said too, I think it would look worse on DC's end if, like, let's say Brock Lesnar just wasn't even in the storyline, like he just wasn't even a factor. Then I think it would kind of look bad on DC that you don't want to rematch Stipe, and there's not really anybody else. I don't say there's nobody else out there, but Stipe will still be a viable option. But with Brock in the wing, like, I get it.
You want
it's
your
kind of
money.
weird. Yeah, it's kind of weird because I don't feel like either of them are wrong. Like,
No, they're both right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both 100% right. If I'm Stipe, I was the longest reigning champ. Kind of based on that merit alone, I feel like I deserve a rematch, and I wouldn't argue against them. But on DC side, it's like, dude, I'm about to retire. I need one more payday before I coast off in the sunset and go chill out. So,
And it would easily be his biggest payday to date.
Right. Yeah, without question. So, yeah, like, really, both of them are right. It's
an awkward situation. Like,
yeah.
You brought in and on the like, does Lesnar deserve a heavyweight title fight? No, but
not at all. Yeah, but if I'm DC, I'm taking the Lesnar fight, whether I think he deserves it or not, because he's gonna get me paid.
Right.
And that is ultimately.
And we won't know about anything about Lesnar until after WrestleMania is over.
Yeah. And personally, if you ask me which fight I want to see, like, I feel like DC deserves that payday fight, so I would love to see him go out on that, but I kind of don't. As much as I've defended Brock Lesnar in the past, I kind of don't care to see this fight. So I guess I'm slightly leaning more towards the Stipe rematch, just because I kind of don't. At this point, I kind of just don't care for the Brock shtick anymore.
See, I want to see if DC can do to Brock Lesnar what he did to Josh Barnett and just lift him above his head and then throw him down. that is the beginning and end of all of my desire to see this fight, besides seeing DC get paid before he rides off into the sunset.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I understand people not being super hyped about it.
Yeah, because then, like, if Brock somehow wins, fails another drug test, we might be in like another John Jones kind of situation.
I mean, if Brock Lesnar wins, Stipe gets the fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Stipe, yeah. So both of y'all get paid.
Or unless DC wants a rematch, in which case the UFC might give it to him. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those weird situations where, like, both parties are right in what they want, but you just kind of gotta wait and see how it plays out. But I feel for Stipe, like, when he was champ, he was kind of like overlooked, and now that he lost his belt, it's just they kind of just treat him like, yeah, whatever. So yeah, I'm not mad at the man if he wants his rematch.
Who were Stipe's 3 defenses again? It was JDS. God, off the top of my head, I don't remember.
Yeah, I have terrible memory. I know he starched all of them.
Was Overeem?
Yeah, Overeem, who should have won. Yeah.
And oh God, this is gonna bother me forever. Oh, Francis Ngannou, of course. It's crazy to me because he was the underdog in all 3 of those fights. And in the Verdum fight.
Yeah.
And then in the one fight where he was the favorite, he ended up losing.
Yeah. Hard knock life, man. Hard knock life. But I just worry for Stipe that he wants this rematch so bad, and like DC has already fought once since then, and it would suck that he might just be kind of sitting around waiting for a fight that just kind of might not even
materialize.
Yeah, it just might not even happen. But yeah, best of luck to both of them. Like I said, but both of them are right. I can't really argue against either point because I can see both perspectives. But we'll just have to see how that fight plays out.
I mean, let's be like if they had gone 5 rounds and it was a super close competitive fight, that people were saying DC won, would see Baby giving him a rematch in the meantime, waiting for Brock Lesnar, because he'd be in his position.
Yeah. And the other storyline, I figured we would briefly touch on this. How do you feel about Colby Covington? Him being stripped of his the belt that nobody cares about. That dirty I word, and him potentially suing the UFC. He's kicking and screaming over here.
He should probably read his contract, and he should probably know the UFC has gone to court to say that the UFC title doesn't actually mean anything. Like, that is an actual defense that they use in their antitrust lawsuit. So, and I don't know if Kobe comes from like a rich family. He kind of seems like a dude who grew up in a trailer park. But dude, like, we know how much you made from your last like 3 fights. If you want to go to war with the UFC, you better get your money up.
Yeah.
Because they will run you dry.
And I guess for people who don't know, if you don't remember, just to put context, so after the RDA fight, Colby won. He was awarded the interim title.
He got to go to the White House with his fake belt.
Yeah. went to the White House, all that stuff. Sometime later, he was offered the fight against Woodley, but he turned it down to get some kind of surgery or whatever. And
I think he had nasal surgery, yeah.
Yeah, so it was nasal surgery. Dana White said, "Oh, you suck." Basically, bypassed him and gave the title shot to Usman instead.
Oh, he gave it to Till first.
Oh, yeah. Till and now Usman. So he's been overlooked or bypassed pretty much twice. I'm gonna try to be fair, but ultimately I'm not gonna side with him. To shoot him a little amount of bail, I'll say that I think other fighters that we probably are fans of have probably been in similar situations.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't lie and say that like I don't see where Colby's coming from. Like,
oh no, he's 100% right. He should be upset. Like, he won the fake belt, he should get the title shot.
Yeah,
that's how it goes. Yeah. Well, that's how it used to go.
Yeah, but yeah, also it's just like sometimes I wonder, like, are fighters so in? I mean, I get it because like you're training, you got a lot going on. You're a professional fighter. You don't have time to, watch the news and stuff all day.
Kobe has to go find ways to pay girls to post naked photos on his Instagram. So
yeah. But it's like you guys have to know. It's not like this treatment is, and I'm not saying that it's right, but it's not like this treatment is really anything new. Like, we've kind of seen how this story ultimately plays out, and it pretty much goes when Uncle Dana wants you to fight, you got to fight, and if you don't,
tough titties.
Yeah,
like,
he'll kick and scream too.
Guy, like, this is just back to what we talked about when DJ and the UFC were feuding like 2 years ago. The UFC's not your friend. Like they're a business, and like the machine, the mechanisms of the UFC are not there to help you. They're there for the UFC's benefit and their benefit alone.
Yeah. Like, so you know how we say, like, you're in a fight, you're winning until you're not winning. That's how the business is. Like,
like the UFC's run like Walmart. Let's be real. Like, I used to work at a Walmart. They have like little "We Are Walmart" signs. Like, we're all a big family. Like, no, that's not how it works. They tell you when to show up, you show up, or they fire you because you are expendable.
Yep.
And maybe you shouldn't be. Maybe you should have a little bit more say in how your career goes. But you don't have that power. you have zero power over who gets the title shot. Dana White could go and give the fucking title shot to Tim Means if he wanted to. Just cause. Like we were talking the absolute shit pile that has been the middleweight title scene for the past 3 years, where everybody's hurt and everybody needs surgery, and and in the middle of all that, it was like, you know what, we should give Dan Henderson a title shot so he can leave. Like Dan Henderson, who was ranked like number 11 or 12 in the division, like it's all arbitrary, nothing matters, and I don't know why Colby thought he'd be the exception.
I think
Like,
one of the quotes I read from him was like, I won the title, I went to the White House, I don't know more what they wanted from me. Like, I think he thought that him and Dana were like buddy, and then he found out, you know, that next day, like, yeah, Dana doesn't really, he don't really bang with you like that.
this is like a union buster, like when they're like a scab finding out that his boss doesn't actually care about him.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, like I said, you know, I try to be fair on this podcast. So, like, I understand Colby's frustration, because if it was anybody else, I'd probably be, you know, I'd be defending them, but I don't really like Colby, so I kind of don't care. But, like, he's right in how he feels, but he also has to understand, like,
He needs to look in the mirror and get a beat on what went wrong. Self-reflect, and I'm not sure he can do that. Everything is always everybody else's fault. Like, dude was upset that he never got paid for his, like Joey posted this. He was apparently upset that he never got paid for his trip to Australia, his media appearance in Australia. The one where, you know, he got hit in the head by Verdum with a boomerang. Like, that's also the same trip where he was just where he was just calling for the F word over and over again on camera. Like, dude has no self-awareness. Like, everybody likes to pretend and he even thinks it's a gimmick, but it's not a gimmick. He's just a douchebag, and he just has no self-awareness. And that's like the point out Kamaru Usman's been doing, what Colby Covington's been doing, but more impressive. Because he also beat Maya, and it didn't look like shit. And he also beat RDA, and did not look like, you know,
right,
crap.
But went on to Woodley in a press conference, had a good showing, got people talking, and now he's the man.
Yeah, he's gonna fight Woodley, and Colby Covington's probably behind Ben Askren if he beats Robbie Lawler.
Yep.
For being real, because like if Usman wins, like Ben Askren's already built in the narrative. He's Marty from Nebraska or whatever. Like.
Yeah, I don't know where that came.
I don't freaking like.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll give Ben Askren props. He's done a good job of keeping his name in a headline. It's weird, but it's, you know.
Can't wait till they actually have to watch him fight. And it's just him hanging on to Robbie Lawler along the fence for 3 rounds.
And we realize what we traded DJ for.
Yeah, he traded the best fighter of all time, one of the best fighters of all time, for a 35-year-old wrestler.
Yeah. But and then Colby also threatened that he may never fight again. So, cry.
I mean, threatened me with a good time.
Like, right. You know.
Take my joy from me, why don't you?
Yeah. No love lost. Have a good time, and I don't know where you'll go.
What the hell? Like, what could Colby Covington do as like an actual job? Like, where people would actually like welcome him onto their team. Like,
he'd be like a shady. I see him being like a shady pyramid schemer.
See, I don't think he's that smart. He doesn't seem like a good salesman. Like, Al Quinta at least like has the he's a fun dude. He just seems like he's a riot to be around, you know?
Yeah.
Colby Covington seems draining.
Yeah. After about 3 minutes with Colby, you're looking for an exit.
He is like it's like hanging around like a 16-year-old jock. Like maybe
Colby would have done great as like one of those really bad like 1990s, 1980s like teenage kung fu karate villains. Like he 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 definitely could have been like a bad guy in Three Ninjas Kickback or something like that. He's got the douche look, but like he can actually fight a little bit, so like you have to like somewhat take him seriously.
right.
But his era passed him though. He missed that wave, buddy. Could have got on that, but yeah. Well, I ain't gonna say we'll see what happens with Kobe because we're probably not gonna hear from him for a while.
I mean, we're going to hear from him. He still has a Twitter account.
No, I blocked him.
Yeah.
I blocked him. So I will not be hearing anything.
Yeah, all you people who like and like retweet freaking Colby Covington's tweets, like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
Stop.
I blocked him. Yeah.
Y'all like those people who retweet the girl who like walks around her campus with like a fucking machine gun. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Do better. There are way more people you could be liking and retweeting.
Like Ray Borg just tweeted about how he adopted his niece and was taking her to a father-son dance. Like, come on, or father-daughter dance, my bad. But like, go retweet that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Ray Borg being great. Stand-up dude.
Yeah. Get your quality of followers up, or people you follow. But that's I just wanted to briefly touch on that real quick. So toodaloo, Kobe. But moving on, before we get to UFC 234, there were a few other fights worth of mention that went down this weekend. So starting off, I will quickly run through a Bellator card that happened on the 9th, which I didn't realize was a thing until like earlier that day. So I just kind of forgot about it. But Bellator Newcastle went down in England, headlined by Patricky Pitbull and Ryan Scope. I'm going to ask you guys to pardon my memory on this fight, or on these fights, because I only watched them once, did not rewatch them, so I'm going by very broken old man memory. I'll just quickly run through the main card, because I can't talk about any of the prelims, because for one, there were too many of them. A lot of finishes, though, but I didn't watch any of the prelims, really, so I can't comment. But Patricky Pitbull versus Ryan Scope was the main event. It actually was a pretty fun fight. Ryan Scope made it pretty competitive. To be honest, you could even argue that Ryan Scope might have won. I think Patricky, if I read, said he broke his hand in this fight in one of the rounds. But it was very competitive. Like, Patricky didn't just run through him like we've seen Patricky just knock out a couple people. He did catch him with some good shots. But Scope fired back. He did good in the second and third. And like I said, you could argue that Scope may have actually won that fight. I thought they were going to give it to him, but Patricky ended up getting the nod. So shout out to Patricky. But I think Ryan Scope, I think his stock probably raises from that fight, because I think he did probably better than people thought he would. So shout out to both of those gentlemen. That was a pretty entertaining main event, so you guys can go back and watch that. The co-main event, Corey Browning versus Aaron Chalmers. I made the anti-cool watch this fight.
Yeah.
It's not a good fight.
No.
It's
not.
It
is not.
Boy, all I can say about this fight is fight IQ is a very important thing.
Can we explain who Aaron Chalmers is and why he's headlining a Bellator card?
Oh yeah, so Aaron Chalmers, for those who don't know, I mean, he's been on a couple Bellator. I think he was on another Bellator card, right?
He's like 4-0, so I assume he's been on like a few.
Yeah, he's been on a few cards. Aaron Chalmers was a reality TV star. What was that show called? Geordie Shore?
Geordie Shore.
Geordie Shore.
Which I'm assuming is just Jersey Shore, but in some place called Geordie.
Yeah. So he was,
And he was also on X on the Beach.
I don't know what that is.
I'm assuming it's about a show about exes on beaches.
So, yeah, Aaron Chalmers, reality star, got into MMA.
So basically, it's just like Logan Paul and Jake Paul fighting in a boxing ring, except Bellator put it on TV in the UK.
Yeah, and made it a co-main event.
Yep. Who's Judy Browning?
All I remember Corey Browning from is that he beat Baby Slice. But I know I've heard of him before then.
Wax Sauce.
Yeah, he beat Baby Slice. His fight against Chalmers, Chalmers actually caught him with a lot of good shots in his fight. But Chalmers did a very terrible thing in which he thought he had a walk-off KO, so like he dropped Browning and then tried to proceed to give himself his own highlight reel and just like walk away.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like he walked away like, oh, it's the end of the round. He didn't walk away like I knocked him out like Jimmy Crute did. Like it was like oh my god, it's finally over. It was like a sigh of relief more than anything.
And it's like, yeah, bro, he's actually still alive. You got to go back. But fight IQ goes both ways because Corey Browning had a terrible so there's a point in the fight. Browning has top control. He's landing some very interesting ground and pound. I'll say as much. It didn't look very threatening, but he was landing a lot of shots, and he had Chalmers in a bad spot regardless. And I thought, like, all you needed to do was just keep this position, and you might end up getting a stoppage, as funny as your ground and pound kind of looks. And when you guys watch the fight, if you choose to watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about. His ground and pound just looked really funny to me. But, albeit, like, he had Chalmers in a bad spot. But what does he do? Let me give up my bad spot and go for an armbar, and then not get it. And now Chalmers is on top of me. But, in the end, Corey Browning won via heel hook. Yeah, this fight looked like a manager at Target versus like the new hire. And, like the new hire almost won. The manager had been there for like 2 more years, so you
say Target, I say like Hot Topic.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, because of the tattoos and Hot Topic.
Like I'm like, wait, Eric Chalmers is the one with the MMA tattoos? Because this man is just tatted from chin to like leg,
his neck. Yeah, he's
like not even his neck, like his actual chin, like the under part of his chin is just all tatted. It's really weird.
Yeah. So. Yeah, the Hot Topic manager, Corey Browning took out Aaron Chalmers. So Corey Browning is the guy who I guess fights all of the Bellator. I don't know if you want to call them prospects or
freaks.
I don't want to call Baby Slice a freak. I like Baby Slice. Like he's obviously very, 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 very raw, but I don't get like a gimmick. Feel from him.
Okay, so let's call them like not prospects because I'm reluctant to call Kimbo Slice Jr. a prospect, but
yeah, there's
the new guys with names.
There we go. Yeah, for lack of a better term. Yeah,
like the name value people.
Yeah. So Corey Browning, apparently his job is to go in and stop all those guys.
He's like, is Corey? You think they wanted Corey Browning to lose?
They had to. But then I don't know, though, because you throw Corey in there, and you got to know that he has way more experience than Chalmers does.
Right.
But what's wild is, like, this was actually a winnable fight for Chalmers still. Like, he could have won this fight. He just, clearly there were just areas that Corey was just better at than he was. But that fight was the thing that happened. I was entertained, not in a good way. It was just, like, funny to me at how, like, you watch the fight, you'll know what I'm talking about.
It's not pretty.
Yeah, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. It's one of them Bellator fights. It's one of them. But moving on, Chris Bungard defeated Terry Brazier via rear naked choke. From what I understand, I think Brazier was actually a heavy favorite in this, if I remember. I think he was a champ in some other organization, but I can't remember. But because I feel like the Bungard when he won, like it was kind of a surprise. But I think Bungard trains with Conor. I want to say they mentioned Conor's name while he was in there, so I think he does train with Conor. But anywho, he won via rear naked choke. And the last fight we'll mention, rounding out that main card, was Fabian Edwards, brother of Leon Edwards, went against Lee Chadwick. It was a good showing for Edwards. I think it was the first time he actually had to go all 3 rounds. He won the fight pretty decisively, but I think it was good to see that Chadwick was just like kind of one of those tough guys that wasn't willing to go away really easy just because you hit him kind of hard. So you know, Edwards had to really work to get his win. You know, he's definitely a good talent. For somebody who I think was only like 5-0 or 6-0, and I think he only started training MMA, they said, at like 22, and he's only like 25, 26 now. So for somebody who hasn't been training that long, he looks like pretty comfortable in the cage, but obviously there are, you know, still areas he definitely needs to improve on and get better at. But for somebody who hasn't been training in MMA for that long, he looked pretty good. And with Leon Edwards as your brother, that can only help. You know, it's a lot of knowledge and things that he can probably pass on to you. So not bad to have Leon in your corner. But shout out to Fabian Edwards. Or could be potentially in the future somebody in Bellator's middleweight division who might be, you know, worth keeping an eye out for. So that was Bellator Newcastle. I don't know if I guess they're gonna put those sites on the website because the fight was shown on the app.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if they put it. I didn't look today. But I don't know if those fights are on the website. But if they are, at least watch the Fabian Edwards fight and watch the Patricky Ron Scope fight. Both of those fights were pretty good. Watch Corey Browning and Aaron Chalmers at your own risk. So that was Bellator Newcastle. Moving on real quick. There were also some boxing happenings going on this weekend. Gervonta Davis fought Hugo Ruiz. I live in Maryland, so I hear Gervonta Davis' name a lot. He's, you know, hometown kid over here. Interesting story about this fight. Gervonta Davis actually, but at the weigh-ins initially was like 0.2 pounds overweight. Had half an hour to make the weight limit, ended up making it. So title fight stayed on. I only got a chance to saw the replay of the fight because by the time the fight started, when I went to click over to Showtime, it was over.
Yeah.
Found out it was over because Davis got him out of there in the first round. And from what I'm going to guess on the highlights I saw, he pretty much blasted him.
Yeah, no, that was supposed to be Abner Mares in there, but he pulled out like 10 days ago. Talking about, late replacements and fights falling through. I think that I don't know. I guess the narrative is like Gervonta wants to fight 3 times this year, which is good and rare for like the top fighters in boxing. Dude's only like what 22 years old, if that. Like, dude's healthy. He should be fighting as often as possible. And he seems to draw out the stars because like they had like Drake and Lil Wayne and Odell Beckham Jr. and like all the a bunch of big celebrities out there. So dude's becoming a star. Like he might be the next big star in boxing. See how it goes.
Yeah, my fear for him, because like I said, he's a hometown kid, so I kind of hear about him a lot here. I'm afraid. I don't even want to put this in the atmosphere. I don't want him to be one of those guys who has like this ton of talent, but ends up ruining it because he can't like keep it control outside of the cage.
You mean like an Adrian Broner?
Yeah, and I don't think he'll be that bad.
Oh yeah, like that's always been the thing with like, a couple of years ago, somebody wrote a great article about like Floyd's relationship with Tank. It was talking about how Floyd was like, fronting him money at the beginning of his career when he signed him, or not, yeah, like around the time he signed him, like bought him like $100,000 Hummer, like gave him money to move his mom out the projects and everything like that. And he just took the money and like bought a whole bunch of chains and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Like he was out here still running with like his crew, like his friends and everything. Like his mom was still living in the ghetto. Like and you know he wasn't making millions and millions of dollars, but he was still making good money because Floyd was just fronting him the money.
yeah,
Like he was supposed to go train with Floyd out in Vegas for shit. What was the fight? It was the fight. I want to say it was the fight before he fought for the title. Hold up, let me just look it up real quick because right here. I want to say he was supposed to go out with Floyd to go train for Mario Antonio, or it was for Pedraza, or it was one of the two. He was supposed to go out with Floyd to Vegas. He was like, nah, fuck that. I'm gonna stay in Baltimore because I want to be around my friends and drive my new fucking Hummer.
yeah.
And like I don't like it's one of those fights where like his performance suffered or something like that, and
And I think, and
it's to be expected, man. He's like 20.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, and this might not mean really
But, like,
much to anybody who isn't from here. I want to say I think he's from West Baltimore. I want to say,
That
but
sounds right.
Either way, like I grew up a pretty big portion of my life in East Baltimore. I'm not really out west that often, but like I know about out west, and it's not a place. If you got that kind of money, you don't want to run with that kind of crowd. It's kind of one of those kind of stories. And then sometimes I also wonder like how he takes care of himself. Not just that lifestyle aside. Just in terms of like keeping himself in shape between fights. Because I've seen pictures of him like when he's not active, when he's not in a training camp. And it's not a puzzle to me why he sometimes seems to have trouble making weight. Because it looked like when he's not fighting, he doesn't really, he blows up a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's a big reason why him fighting 3 times is benefit him.
Yeah, because he seems like one of those guys at least. Probably, and he's really young. You want to hope that as he gets a little older, he'll mature more. But he might be one of those guys that kind of he needs that activity just to keep him like out of trouble and really like keep him focused, because it seems like when he doesn't have anything to do, if he's not in the limelight, if he doesn't have a fight coming up, then he's just kind of out here and he's not really.
And you that for a 24-year-old who is coming into money for the first time.
Yeah. But either way, he got the W in round 1, so hopefully we will get to see him fight multiple times this year. Also on that same card, Mario Barrios stopped Richard Zamora in the first round. Sorry, not first, in the 4th round by knockout. And Javier Fortuna won a decision over Sharif Bogier, if I'm saying that correct. So that was
right.
Showtime
And
boxing card.
hold up. You missed one. You missed Erickson Lubin just beating the ever-living shit out of Ishe Smith.
No.
So that was a thing that happened and probably didn't need to happen, but it did.
See, sportingnews.com didn't tell me that happened.
Yeah, no. I feel bad. I've been hard on Ishe because he is just a remarkably boring fighter. But dude's overcome some hardship in his life. But he's a 40-year-old man. There is no reason he should have been there with a 23-year-old the size of Erickson Lubin. I don't know why I keep calling him Lubin.
So they sent him in to get slaughtered.
Yeah, no, like Lubin's been rebuilding his career since what Jermell did to him. And he's in the right direction, I guess. He's won 2 fights by knockout since then. Smith scored, I think, quit in this one. So. And
the last boxing fight. Well, I'll let you handle this narrative because you know a lot about it more than I do. The Andrew Cancio and Alberto Machado fight.
Yes. So. If you haven't been paying attention to boxing for the past like couple months, it's been a lot of upsets. Like not upsets over dudes like Vasily Lomachenko or Terrence Crawford. None at that level, but like there've been some really big ones from like some really good like B plus A minus level talent. So you got like Jorge Linares, who fought a tough fight against Vasily Lomachenko last year, who got knocked out in the first round by a journeyman named Pablo Cesar Cano. Like when was this? This was last month. You also had Jermell Charlo, who lost the decision to Tony Harrison back in December. You have Caleb Plant, who took a decision win over Jose Usigwe back in January. All big upsets. Probably none bigger than the one that happened last night, which was Andrew Cancio, a leak surveyor for a gas company. That's his full-time 9 to 5. Probably more than that. He probably works more than 8 hours because like those type of jobs, you tend to be on the site for like 10 to 12. He took the WBA World Super Featherweight title off of Alberto Machado last night on the Zone in what was he, a plus? He was almost a plus 1,000 underdog. I'm not totally familiar with all the odds ever set out there, but like, I don't think I've ever heard that number. Because I know for a fact that like the biggest money underdog in MMA was like plus 7 something. It was like Eddie Wineland getting knocked out by Jose Aldo's Muay Thai coach, Johnny Eduardo. But Cancio went out there and just he got knocked down in the first round, but just refused to go away, stayed in Machado's face, just kept ripping him to the body, and then dropped him 3 times in the 4th round on body shots. So, huge shout out to Andrew Cancio, a dude who probably nobody thought of, much less thought would win a world title. But here he is at 30 years old doing the damn thing. Like I think this might be upset of the year, just on odds alone. Like,
no, so yeah, if you were a plus, is that like 1,500?
900 plus.
Oh yeah. That means they thought you were gonna die in like the first.
Oh yeah, no, people thought this was a mismatch.
Yeah, that means you were supposed to get cleaned up.
Like
they sent it was a setup basically. They sent you in there to be a part of a highlight reel, but not on the good side.
Yeah, like, and for those that don't know, Alberto Machado, probably most famous for knocking out Jezreel Corrales, who's the dude who took the WBA's featherweight title off of Takashi Uchiyama by knocking him out back in 2016. For those who know who Uchiyama was, he reigned over that division. He held the WBA title for like 6 years or something like that. Like, just a ridiculously long time. So, like, Machado was riding off of that win. And, a couple other ones, like Rafael Mensa, some solid wins in there. But this was seen as a mismatch, and Cancio just went there, fucking dogged him. So,
So, there you go. Lots of fights you guys can go back and watch if you didn't check them out between MMA and boxing. So go back and go peep all the aforementioned fights that we talked about. So moving on to the main event of the evening, UFC 234, a card that had plenty of storylines and then all kinds of craziness.
None of the storylines were good though.
Yeah.
Going into it anyway. Maybe coming out of it, but there's no way there's no way any of you don't know this, but you should probably mention what the main event of this card was supposed to be.
Yeah. So we were supposed to be treated to Robert Whittaker defending his middleweight title against Kelvin Gastelum. I was pretty hyped for this fight. Was really interested to see how these two would match up. But as the MMA gods would have it, they giveth, then they taketh, and they taketh, and they just kind of keep taking. So they took that fight away from us. Robert Whittaker, I want to say the day before, they said he had a hernia.
No, it was 3 hours before the card started.
Oh, Lord. Oh, all right. He had a hernia in his abdomen. And just a quick side note, like, hernia was always one of those injuries that I, like, heard about for a long time, and I never actually, like, knew what it was. So I went and looked it up, and I saw a picture of it, and ooh.
Yeah, like, Robert Whittaker's, like, 27? Like, why is he getting hernias?
Yeah, well, all right, so this is me paraphrasing something I saw on Twitter. I don't remember who it was from, so I don't know how accurate it is, but I guess it kind of made sense, assuming they were right. But so apparently, like, there are different kinds of hernias, and I guess some of them can be caused by, like, a lot of physical stress, I guess. I guess. I might be, like, misinterpreting what he said, but it seemed like that's what he was alluding to.
Well, yeah, like, you get like, you hear stories like old people getting hernias trying to lift heavy things, like.
Yeah. So I'm wondering maybe if it was a thing that he maybe pushed himself too hard, and then I also heard, like, one of the kind of hernias you can get. They said, I can't remember exactly what it was called, but some of them, they said, like, some days it's bearable, like, you'll be okay, and then other days there are things that can, like, irritate it or make it worse, and you'll just be in pain, like, all day, and it'll just be kind of a terrible thing.
Yeah.
So that's all a lot of people saying, like, oh, you know, why'd he pull out at the last second? You had to know that you had this. And from the little bit of mini Google research that I saw, like, it seemed like it's possible that you can have this and still be able to function, but then there are some days that you might wake up and it's like, oh, snap, like, this is really, really bad. I need to go to a hospital.
Yeah. So, like, I have the statement from his team right here, if you want me to read it out real quick.
There we go, yeah.
On behalf of Rob, we would like to update the fans on his condition. Last night at roughly 9 p.m., Rob began experiencing intense abdominal pains that were brought to the attention of the UFC doctors. After several hours of observation, he was admitted to the hospital at 3 a.m. Rob is just out of dual surgery for a twisted, collapsed bowel in addition to an internal hernia of the intestine, and will be recovering in the hospital for a few days. Rob will want to speak to his fans directly when he can. Rob is devastated that today's fight will not go ahead. Up until 5 minutes before going to surgery, Rob was insisting that he would fight, but advice was that a blow to his stomach could be fatal. Rob will come back stronger and ready for what is to come. Thanks to the UFC, Kelvin, and his team for your professionalism. This was posted about, it says 10 hours ago, but I had it up on my thing. This was posted about 4 a.m. Eastern time.
And I mean, just, and not stay on this too long, but, like, for anybody who, I don't know why people do this, but it's the internet. It's what people do. For anybody who thought, like, he was ducking or, he was scared, like, come on, bro. This man fought Yoel Romero twice.
Yeah,
like like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, there's no Robert Whittaker ducking anybody. Just absolutely makes zero. It doesn't make sense.
He probably should have ducked Yoel Romero because that's probably where all this stems from.
Right. I would duck Yoel Romero. And another side note about this fight. You know, I'm not gonna say I'm glad this fight didn't happen. Like, I hope Whittaker's all right. Like, I hope he recovers from this well, because that seems like a pretty, like, that just seems like a lot to deal with. But I don't know if you guys saw Kelvin Gastelum, but he was running around here with the plague on his lip, and they were just about to let him fight like this was okay. And I'm wondering, like, am I the only one who was kind of disturbed that, Like, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, this hernia thing doesn't happen and the fight just kind of goes along. And Robert Whittaker goes to punch Kelvin Gastelum in the face, and one of those little things on his face like explodes. And
oh god.
Why was he fighting with like ringworm and the plague
And staph?
Yeah,
Like why are fighters getting cleared to fight with staph?
Yeah, this is the problem.
Flesh-eating disease.
Yeah, like there's no way that that's safe.
Kevin Lee fought with staph against freaking Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
But there is definitely somebody else who's fought with staph like last year.
I can't remember. There's been a couple though. There's and I think what just made his so bad was like you could literally see it, like it was on like his chin, his lip, his
the back of his neck.
Yeah, it looked nasty. Like it looked that looked dirty, and it just I'm sorry, that was disgusting. Like you can't fight with that. Like there's no way I'm jabbing you in the face and you got that on your lip. Like I'm good on that. So I think this fight getting canceled might have like low key been, you know, a good thing in a wild kind of way. Give Gastelum time to get that off his face.
Go take a shower. God damn.
Like I don't know how you got that. But yeah, hopefully this fight gets rebooked, and between now and then you can go get that whole little situation on your chin.
Go get some what is it called? Defense soap?
Yeah, something, bro.
Some Tiger Balm.
Scrub a dub away. Get that all fixed up, and hopefully we'll have Whittaker patched up and good.
Well, the doctor said 4 to 6 weeks, but Matt Damon told Dana White that it takes way longer. And, yeah, Matt Damon was a doctor in Interstellar or something. So. And
he was in like 4 Bourne movies. So. I don't know. Maybe Matt Damon knows what he's talking about. I don't know. But nah, man. Just like best of luck to Whittaker, man. Speedy, well wishes, man. Speedy recovery, because that's got to be devastating just to go through that. And for Gastelum, like I'm a Gastelum fan, so I say this from a place of care, bro. Go get that checked out. Like go.
Like how was he cleared to medically fight?
Right. Like did everybody just like ignore the elephant in the room? Like, you know, we see that on his lip, but we just kind of, you know.
But the UFC sends their paycheck, so here we are.
Yeah. Lord. But anywho, so that fight didn't happen.
Just real quick, I just want to point out, freaking the part about their statement where they were like, yeah, if Robert Whittaker had got punched in the stomach today, he might have died. And the fact that Whittaker was going to, in Whittaker's mind, he was still going to fight like until 5 minutes before until he had to go into surgery. Like, dude is tough as shit.
Yeah, he's if there's a true Iron Man of the sport, he's one of the poster childs. But yeah, so main event got canceled, so we were treated to a new main event. Co-main was promoted, and our new main event for UFC 234 was Israel Adesanya versus Anderson Silva. Man, I have so many just emotions and things about this fight. Like originally when this fight was announced some months back, I wasn't really happy about it. I was kind of like, man, like why are we doing this? I don't want to see Anderson go through this. And I gotta say, like the week of this fight, the more and more I went back, you know, I watched a lot of their fights. I watched both of their fights against Derek Brunson, since that was like the one common opponent they both had. And like I started to feel better a little bit. Not that I thought Anderson would win, but I was like, I feel like he's not gonna get steamrolled, I think, as much as people think he will. Because Adesanya is not a one-hit knockout kind of guy. It's more of I pick my spots and it's like accumulative damage. And And Anderson, for, yeah, he's lost a step, not as fast. Reaction time isn't as sharp as it used to be. But the man's still witty. He's still crafty. He's still Anderson at the end of the day. And it's not like Adesanya's some crazy brawler. So I was like, this could just be one of those fun technical fights that just kind of goes 3 rounds, and we just get, we'll get a lot of feints, a lot of little baiting movements, and we'll just have moments of explosion, and whoever has more moments will just win. And that's kind of sort of what this fight ended up being. The first round had me worried because Adesanya did start off pretty hot. He caught Silva with a lot of good shots in the first. He gave him a slight buckle of the knees with, I can't remember if that was the right or left that he landed. But yeah, he gave Silva all he could handle in that first round. So I was a wee bit nervous, but in the second round, I thought Anderson rebounded pretty well. I think Anderson's problem, and we've seen it in a couple of fights, he's not like the most active at times.
Right.
He a lot of times like just kind of relies on countering, and he'll try to fade his way in and get shots in when he can, but he's not out here blitzing guys. He doesn't always really put on a ton of pressure. But he was still actually able to catch Israel with some good shots. Because I was talking to somebody on Twitter who had commented under one of my posts about, after the fight, I gave Anderson really high praise because I thought it was just really impressive that at 42 or 43 years of age, that he still was like hanging with Adesanya. And the person who commented had said, he thought it was because Adesanya just gave him too much respect. Like, he didn't think Adesanya fought Silva the way he fights everybody else. And I chose to look at it like, well, to me, that speaks to Anderson's skill set, that even at 43, you still can't just go in there just wilding out and just trying to, he can still catch you. And he caught Adesanya with not anything too serious, but he gave him a couple of good counters to let Adesanya know, like, you're not just going to toy with me and, you're not about to put me on a highlight reel. You're going to have to work for this. So this fight for me, it was a really fun 3-round, just kind of technical. It was a really, to steal words from Joey, or one of you guys posted this, the fight was tense. Like,
that was me. How
okay,
dare
right.
you? How dare you?
Sorry, Joey, that wasn't you. But I thought that was a good word to describe this fight. Because, like, the entire time, they're both doing, like, these just little movements, these feints. And, like, they're similar, but they're different in a way, in the way that they fight. They're both flashy. They both are showmen to the utmost, which I love that we got in that. This fight gave me everything I really loved about both fighters. Like, you got the showmanship, you got the flashiness, you got some good strikes, albeit nobody got, like, super rocked or, like, almost died or anything.
Right.
But it was a really fun technical fight, and it looked like they both were enjoying themselves. And like I said, Anderson landed some good counters. He worried me when he would, like, he would land a couple of good shots, and then he would just kind of proceed to just kind of chase Adesanya, which I was...
Yeah, I'm really surprised. Like, that was the one part of the fight where I'm like, okay, if I... Because my prediction back when they made the fight was Adesanya would kind of just snipe on Silva, and that would build over 3 rounds. Like, I didn't think he would knock him out because Adesanya doesn't hit that hard. Like, he only really finishes you when you get wild. So when Silva started just, like, coming forward and, like, spamming 1-2s, like, I really thought, okay, this is where Adesanya is going to turn a corner, pull the rug out from underneath him, just drop him with something. But no, he was just straight up in retreat mode.
Yeah, because it seemed like he had some openings. So Silva did have a couple of, like, reckless moments of doing that. But not like you said, Adesanya is not like a knockout kind of guy. I thought Anderson did a good job of when they were in the clinch, able to slow the fight down, landed some good shots. But also on the reverse, Anderson always has these moments where he just leaves his hand down, voluntarily eats a 3-piece, just, tries to keep going forward. Well, I don't say try. He did. He pretty much did eat the 3-piece.
Yeah.
But nah, Adesanya just, I think he won just because he was the busier guy. Silva, as we've seen before, sometimes will spend too long just kind of sitting out on the wing, kind of time a good counter, and not always being as assertive as he should be. Because I felt like in the moments where he was assertive, he did a good job, minus him kind of chasing, which could have led to him getting flatlined.
I mean, but even then, he was still like landing though.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, like you said, he put Adesanya in retreat mode a couple of times where he would land a 1-2, Adesanya would back up, he would chase him around, and they'd have like a little cat and mouse moment. But nah, it was a really fun technical fight. Like I said, everything I loved about both fighters I got to saw. You got the showmanship, you got the action. You saw that Anderson Silva, still at 43 years of age, can still hang with some of the newer generation, with the top guys, and not get like completely obliterated. So while it wasn't an Anderson win, circumstances considering, and the fact that he's 43 years old, I'll take this because everybody else who stood in front of Adesanya pretty much got sniped and put away, and he stood in front of him and made it a really competitive fight. And it was great to see at the very end, heartfelt moment. I don't know if you caught it, like when the fight was over and they were hugging, and he told Adesanya like, "You're the best, you're the man. I passed." I don't know if he said like I passed the baton or he said I passed something down to you, but like basically acknowledging like, "All right, you got next."
Right.
I thought that was a really, really, really awesome heartfelt moment. But no, this fight left me in a good. I was in a good mood after this. I thought originally that I was gonna be crying in tears because Silva would like lose in a terrible fashion, but this was like a weird feel good moment. Like it I felt like everybody won. No matter who you were rooting for, you felt good after this fight was over.
Yeah. This is way better than like if this had been like this the same thing as a Yair Rodriguez going out there and murdering BJ Penn. Like Anderson, and I feel like we should have known this. Like I feel like people are like, and this is hindsight. I think we questioned Anderson Silva's durability a bit too much. Like the Weidman knockout stems from basically just Silva not having his feet underneath him when he got knocked out, and then like the Bisping knockdowns came because Bisping is like the volume puncher at middleweight. He will throw like 5-6 punch combinations, and he will overload somebody like Silva. Like Adesanya has never been that. He is a sniper. He is like that's where the Anderson Silva comparisons come in. Like he's a sniper. He's going to fight like he fights at a kickboxer's pace. Like if you've ever watched a Glory card or one of these like European kickboxing shows where the guys who fight on the card have to fight like 6 to 7 times a year to make money, they don't go ham. Like well, not all of them. Some are like Robin Van Roosmalen, and you just refuse to friggin' back down. But like, there's a lot of like bleed over from like the Muay Thai style, which is just like you warm up in the first round, you kind of put your pedal to the metal in the second round, and if you're losing or if you're winning, like the third round is just like make it to the end because you have to fight again in like 3 weeks.
Right.
Like, and Adesanya really does have that. Like you saw in the Brad Tavares fight, and a little bit in the Marvin Vittori fight. Marvin Vittori. Like he's not a guy who's just going to put it on you. And if he does end up putting it on you, it's because you put it on yourself trying to rush him, like that Brunson did. And I think the thing we all overlooked is that's the exact type of fight Anderson Silva wants. He wants somebody who he can go exchange for, but not have to fight at this crazy breakneck pace that somebody like Michael Bisping would give him.
All right.
So, we end up see that. Yeah, Silva's not as fast as he used to be, but he still has all the skills. He can still parry and move his head with the best of them. He's still out there. Like what was his last fight? It was the fight where he hurt Daniel Cormier in like a week's notice or something.
Yeah.
Or not even. It was a couple days. Like, yes, Silva is still a very skilled fighter, and I know there was a lot of talk about him being like 43, but he's 43 with a skill set that, and people say he relies a lot on his reflexes and his speed, and it does, but like, I mean, he's a middleweight. Like Dan Henderson was still fast enough for middleweight. And he's like 40, he's like 48 or whatever. Who else? Like, there's people finding success at 40 and plus in the UFC at 185 and over. Like your Hendersons, and it's not really fair, but like Yoel Romero, um, you know, half the heavyweight division. Like you like half like OSP is like a 30-something-year-old, like in his late 30s, and he's still one of the top 15 light heavyweights on the planet. Like, like, and Silva's for all the talk about him being suspended, Silva's coming off like a 2-year vacation. Like that's good for your brain, good for your chin. So,
Right.
like,
And well, you kind of said it too, like it's hindsight, but even in the fights that Anderson lost, I mean, outside of like the Weidman, and I guess the Cormier fight ended up kind of being a little one-sided, but it's not like he's been out here getting completely washed.
yeah, no, like
all right, I'll give you the Weidman knockout. All right, he got floored, and then he broke his leg. But outside of that, these other fights weren't.
ass whooping.
Even the Cormier fight where he lost, I think he lost every round. He didn't do it. He didn't get dealt a ton of damage, really. Like, he left that fight pretty, he obviously didn't win, but it's not like he was out here getting starched.
Yeah.
And Matt, regardless if you thought he won the Brunson fight or not, that was a close fight still. Like, it wasn't like Brunson went out there and just really poured it on
Hell,
him,
dude, like the Michael Bisping fight, he almost won. He almost knocked Bisping out. Like,
yeah.
And it was like a 3-2 fight on the cards. Like,
yeah, so it's not like he's been, he's 42 years old and he's just been out here getting knocked out every fight.
yeah, he's still out here competing.
Yeah.
The only difference is like, and here's another thing to take into account. Adesanya Adesanya, like, yeah, he's 16-0 now, but like he has 1 year of MMA experience, like real MMA experience. Like, this is a dude whose best wins on the regional circuit were, oh, I beat Fat Melvin Gillard. And who is it? Batman. Ivan. No, not Ivan. Crap. Shoot. The Brazilian dude. Who was also like a lightweight. Like one of this dude's wins is Kanan Song. Like early in his career. So like Adesanya is still out here learning the sport. He is still getting his bearings with fellow middleweights. So it does not surprise me that he struggles with somebody who finds success in the same type of fight as he does.
All right. And I think we both mentioned it before when we gave prediction like one of the podcasts. The one thing Anderson was going to have going for himself in this fight was that he was going to be in his element. Israel Adesanya is not going for any takedowns. So Anderson's going to be completely comfortable on his feet in his element where he wants to be.
Right.
But, Adesanya just a bit faster, more active, still like really solid defensively. Aside from
he's there to be hit. If you can jab, you can jab with him. Like Brad Tavares jabbed with him, and he paid for it, but he was still able to land a decent enough clip that it was a noticeable flaw, I guess, in Adesanya's approach. Yeah. And besides Adesanya himself, Anderson Silva has the best jab at middleweight, and I guess Chris Weidman, but Chris Weidman. Yeah. Who knows what? Who knows?
There was so many jokes, but I don't even want to make fun of him. I ain't gonna make fun of him. But I mean, really great showing from both. I think for Adesanya, actually, this is a really good thing because I think there's a lot of things he can take away from this fight and learn from. So I think he can get, like, a lot of times when you get the fight that you need to learn the hard lesson from, it's a fight that you lost.
Right.
And he won the fight. But I think there's still things he can go back and look at this tape and be like, all right, if, you know, even though I won, I did X wrong, I did Y wrong, I might need to fix this because of, you know, had I been fighting somebody who might have been like a bit younger, a bit faster, you know, this could have went another way, or I could have been put in more bad situations.
Right. If that was Kelvin Gastelum or Robert Whitaker, like I see ways for them to exploit Adesanya.
Yeah, because if they would have had one of those moments where they could have like tagged them with a 1-2 and backed him up, and he doing that retreat mode, and they, you know, maybe instead of chasing, just kind of could have cut him off. Oh, it could get nasty.
Or even just shoot for a takedown, like because we
Right, yeah.
know Adesanya just doesn't have a ground game.
Yeah.
So.
So yeah, a lot he can take from this fight, but still like a really good performance from him. You know, Adesanya just kind of continues to do what he does, and that's got to be awesome having a fight like that against Anderson Silva. Like that's just got to be a great feeling. So congrats to Adesanya. Pretty much this fight, as I saw it, was a proverbial like passing of the torch. So I just think it was just a really good moment. It felt good. And all the ways this fight could have went.
This was the best.
Outside of this was the best. Outside of an Anderson win, this is probably the best way this could have went. So I'll take it. So congrats to them for putting on a great main event, in which they didn't know they would be a main event.
Real quick, I want to call out Dom Cruz for his Jacare erasure when he's like, well, he's a top 3 fighter now, Adesanya. It's him, Gastelum, and you know, Whitaker. And I'm like, wait, technically Chris Weidman still fights in this division. and he beat Gastelum. And Jacare's still out here, and his resume is more impressive than Adesanya's. So
yeah, put respect on the alligator.
Yeah.
But great main event. What's really interesting is that you go from Adesanya to Silva.
So the rest of this card.
Right. And you look at the rest of this card and you're like, what happened? But I will say before we move on, did I think this fight? Oh, not fight. Did I think this card was pay-per-view worthy?
No.
Probably not. But was I entertained the whole time I watched it? Yeah, pretty much. Like, sure, there weren't a ton of great names, but I was entertained throughout. Like, this card was a lot better than what I thought it would be. I'm not saying I would not shove out $60, $70 for this, but it was an entertaining card nonetheless.
I'm really curious what the numbers will do, pay-per-view wise and like prelim wise, because it was coming off that big Duke Virginia game, which I watched while it was happening. So,
boy, that Zion block.
Yeah.
I don't mean to go off on a basketball side tangent, but Zion, man, that guy is he is freakishly athletic. Like, if somebody would have jumped at me, I'd have just gave him the ball. Like, you don't even need to block, just take it. Like, I hate Duke, but like certain talents you just can't deny. So I just watch them because they just got a lot going on over there. And UFC fans, y'all are gonna have to just get used to basketball leading in. Like,
you see, I'm fine with this because it's like it's not a mid-season freaking baseball game. Well, that doesn't matter. Right. In like, it's not like it's not May baseball.
Yeah.
It's not a college football game, but from like teams that don't even have a ranking next to their name. Like,
right.
It's
Wyoming.
It's a couple of the biggest, like the future biggest stars in the NBA, and like the 2 of the top 3 teams in the country. Like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you want that as a lead-in, because if those people just leave that and don't change the channel, you know,
yeah,
get some bleed over. It's a good thing.
We're not getting preempted for a freaking dog show, so
Yeah, and just a side note, like I feel like a lot of MMA fans I realized this about a lot of MMA fans. They don't watch a lot of other sports. A lot of them just only watch MMA,
Yeah.
which nothing wrong with
Well,
that.
like a lot of these dudes, those types come from specifically pro wrestling.
Yeah,
Pro wrestling, or like I guess the new metal scene.
and I mean it's cool if you only watch MMA, but understand that we're on ESPN's platform, MMA is not going to be the biggest sport. Like ES, college basketball is a huge moneymaker.
There is more
A
money
lot
in
of
Zion Williamson for them than there is,
right,
I don't know, Devontae Smith and Duncan. So
right. So y'all are just gonna have to get used to this. Just understand that this is a thing, and you're just gonna have to be cool with it because it's going to happen a lot. But moving on to the co-main event, Lando Venata versus Marcos Mariano, who looked like the Aldi version of Anderson Silva, um, minus like 40 pounds, no ground game. Yeah, not a lot to dissect in this fight other than Lando really big brothered. that this fight went. I mean, really, it was a wash. I ain't gonna, they had a mini feel out session. The second Lando got a hold of him, and nice slam also by Venata. The second he got Marcos on the ground with that slam, this fight was over. Marcos just kind of looked like he had really no idea what to do other than, guess I'm just going to hold on and hope you don't hit me too hard. Lando, to me, looked like he was winning this fight so much that he was bored. Like, he was landing ground and pound. It's like, all right, bro, you can fight back if you want, but all right, I guess you're not gonna fight back, so I'm just gonna keep hitting you. And the way was it me or the way he got the Kimura? It was almost like Marcos gave it to him because he was ready to get out of there.
he's like, yeah, I'm done with this.
Yeah, Lando had like north-south control, and he just casually reached over for Marcos's arm, and Marcos didn't really offer any kind of tug or like. It was like Lando just took it. Like, all right, here's your arm. Oh, you gonna give that to me? All right, cool. And he just got him out of there. Yeah, not really a ton to dissect with that fight. It was very one-sided. Lando gave him the big brother treatment.
I have a question. Is this the first time we've seen Lando Venata use his ground game in the UFC? Like, I don't remember the Matt Frivola fight, but
No, a lot of that. No, I think most of that was them back and forth standing. He's got to have some. Does he have any submission wins?
in the UFC, this is his second win in the UFC. He is 2-3-2 in the UFC.
Jesus.
Right?
It doesn't feel like that. That's
Like, the Tony Ferguson loss has miscolored the rest of his career. Because he should have beat Bobby Green, but he had a point taken away, and he probably should have beat Matt Frivola, but he got him back in the fight.
Yeah, he pre-UFC career he had 4 submission wins, and then once he got to the UFC, he was like whatever.
I almost knocked out Tony Ferguson, like every other person
Right.
Tony Ferguson ever fought. So that means I can knock out anybody.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Oh, maybe he needs to, throw that back in the repertoire.
I think Jim Miller was the proper call out for him because that he needs like that win. He needs that type of win to keep any type of hype, and like
that would really suck if he becomes one of those guys that kind of like, because even you saying to me that his record was 2-3-2, I didn't realize he's. Because you look at like his talent and you would think like, oh, he's probably doing all right.
nah, this game is just so. It's not like there's just too many holes in it, man. Like too many lapses for people like Bobby Green to exploit.
And then it doesn't help. He when you're at lightweight,
like it's a murderer's row. Your first 5 fights are Tony Ferguson, John Makdessi, David Tamor, Bobby Green, and Drakkar Klose. Like, yeah, Tamor and Klose aren't exactly big names, but they're skilled dudes.
Yeah. Does we'll probably revisit this at some point, but do you think in a way maybe did the Tony fight maybe hurt him more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I had people telling me he was a top 5 lightweight already after that fight. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. It's not how this works.
Because I gotta think that if he goes to the Tony fight and let's just say he got washed, they bring him back, but he doesn't get a Bobby Green or a, you know, I think they wanted him to be like that.
Like he gets the Daryl Horcher treatment. Like Daryl Horcher got Khabib Nurmagomedov in his first fight, in the UFC or what? Or I think yeah, he got, and then he got Devin Powell, and then he got Scott Holtzman, then he got Roosevelt Roberts, and he lost like those last two, but they were fights more appropriate to his level.
Right.
Um, I don't know. Like I think I think more than like our perception of him, a huge part of it all has just been like he just does not he's not mixed up his game enough.
Well, hopefully, even though this was an easy win, and there's nobody else he's gonna fight who's gonna give them their arm like that, probably ever again. But I would hope that just because he got the submission win, that maybe he'll just future fights mix it up a bit more.
Yeah.
But then Jim Miller's a dangerous guy to kind of tangle with on the ground.
Yeah, but I think that's a win he needs. Like I don't think he gets anything from fighting another dude like Marcos Rosa and Mariano.
Yeah, definitely not. And that would probably be a fun fight because Miller's been in some brawls too himself. So, I'm all for that fight if that happens. So, congrats to Lando though, back in the win category, pretty dominant performance. Big brother treatment. Moving on down, Ricky Simon versus Simone.
Simone.
Simone versus Ronnie Yaha. Really, first of all, Ricky, man, the mullet, bro.
He just wants to be Eddie Guerrero.
I don't know, man. It's not working. I'm not feeling the mullet energy. But what do I know? He won the fight. It was pretty fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I think we all kind of knew what to look out for in this fight. Ronnie fights. If he gets you down, probably not going to go good for you. So you just got to, be wary of his takedowns, fend those off, and, pick him apart on the feet. And while Ronnie Yaha's striking has gotten better, it's not the prettiest thing to watch. He does often overextend. He throws 100% in every, I don't say every hit, but there are just a lot of times where he'll throw like a right and he just puts like his whole body and soul into it. But he does that because he's not scared of being taken down because that's kind of what he wants.
He should be scared of getting knocked out because that almost happened several times in this fight.
Yeah. I thought Ricky in this fight did a really good job of like, he was at like a nice, I don't want to say safe, but he was at good enough distance to where I can jab you, I can hit you, I might eat a couple shots back. But when you shoot for a takedown, I can stuff it. I can get out of the way fast enough so that you're not going to get me. And I like that he actually stuck to his game plan the entire time. And even in moments of duress, because he had a really good first round where he gave Ronnie the blues in the first with the hands. And then in the second round, Ronnie had a much better second round. He caught Ricky. I can't remember what he caught him with.
It was like an uppercut thing.
Yeah, he stunned Ricky with a really good shot, and I think a lot of guys, maybe just based off of instinct, natural instinct would tell you, oh, I'm hurt, I need to clinch so I can like kind of gather myself, and he didn't fall into that trap. Like he got hit and he backed up and like tried to just circle out, and I thought he just did a good job of really 100% sticking to his game plan because he easily could have gotten rocked. Out of instinct, just kind of clinched to, just kind of gather himself again. Next thing you know, Yaha takes him down or pulls guard or does something crazy, and the fight goes a different way. But, like, he got rocked. He still stayed within himself, recovered pretty well. like I say, caught Ronnie with a lot of good shots. They had a couple of headbutt clashes. I think Ricky's eye was kind of bloody. But no, really good performance from both. Because for Ronnie, for not being able to get takedowns, still managed to damage Ricky a good amount. But Ricky just did it, like I said, a really good job of sticking to the game plan. I'm gonna pick you apart from outside. I love that shoulder check move that he did.
Nah,
I can't think of many people I've seen.
I don't think it was on purpose.
It looked pretty clean. To me, I'm gonna give him benefit of the doubt and say he wanted to do that. Because to me, it looked like or if he didn't, it looked clean. Like he caught Yaha coming in and just kind of just gave him a nice little shoulder, just and knocked him down. And good on him for also a nice job of slipping a lot of Yaha's punches. Because Yaha was throwing the kill. He was throwing some hard shots out there, and Ricky slipped a lot of ones that could have took his head off. But no, I enjoyed Ricky's performance. And like I said, I always root for the LFA guys. So they just continue to send quality fighters over to the UFC. So I was happy that Ricky got this win. And for all intents and purposes, Ronnie's name doesn't get brought up a lot, but he has a lot of wins. So I think for Ricky, this is a pretty big win. That's a nice name to have on your resume.
Probably get some a number.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ricky Simone just seems like a dude who just knows wins and losses and I should say he knows how to win fights despite he's not an unflawed fighter, but he knows how to fight a smart fight. In this fight, he understood, okay, I don't need to go to the ground with Ronnie Yaya, but it doesn't mean I can't use my wrestling, which is the best part of my game. I'll just take him down to break his rhythm every time he charges forward at me, and buy myself a few moments of relaxing, so I can kick at his legs. In the Montel Jackson fight, Jackson was a way bigger dude, so with the reach advantage. So what does he do? He just takes him down because Jackson's a really inexperienced guy who basically built his career on being the bigger, stronger dude and be able to punch everybody. So it's really it's satisfying to see a dude who just understands, okay, this is what I have to do to win, and I won't deviate from the game plan. He managed to drop someone managed to drop Yaya twice in the first round. I probably would have liked to see more body shots, just because Yaya is a dude who tends to slow down as the fight goes on, but it didn't seem to happen here. Maybe it would have gone more to just getting the stoppage for him in the long run, and that's pretty important at bantamweight when everybody seems to be stopping everybody nowadays.
Yeah.
But it was a really good performance from Simone. Like I said, still a whole bunch of flaws, still got stuff to work on, but when you know what your route to victory is and you're able to do that, you're just able to follow the game plan, you're so ahead of the curve. Because there's so many fighters who can't do that.
Yeah. And like I said, there were moments where he could have just naturally deviated, and he stuck with the game plan 100% of the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Probably not a good sign when Ronnie is rocking you, though. So, maybe work. Probably not a good sign when Ronnie Yaya is rocking you.
Yeah. Yeah, Yaha is not supposed to be the guy that almost knocks you out. That's like I said, his striking's getting better, but that's not the guy you want to look back at and oh man, he actually knocked me out. But either way, Ricky Simone gets the win. So congrats to him. That was a pretty entertaining fight. Oh boy, this next fight. Talk about we had the big brother fight with Lando, and we move on to the big sister fight. Montana De La Rosa versus Nadia Kasim. Yeah.
Yeah.
De La Rosa did whatever she wanted.
Yeah. Like I had Nadia Kasem as like somebody to watch at strawweight primarily because she had like she's like 5'7". She has like a huge frame, but at the same time, like she's ridiculously green, like absurdly green, and raw, and for all Monte De La Rosa's faults, she is a very good grappler and a very good wrestler, and Kasem is not. So there you go. So like at
Yeah.
flyweight, where her reach and her strength and her build is just not as pronounced. It probably doesn't work out for the best.
Yeah. De La Rosa. Every time De La Rosa threw more than like 3 punches, Nadia just backed up. Like, I'm not ready for this smoke.
Yeah.
And then she would get taken down and just kind of beat up from there.
Like I'm curious if they thought they gave Kasem this big spot. Like she was even before the injury, she was a main card person. Like she was on the main card. Um, I'm curious if the UFC thought like they had something with her.
Well, if they did, it got thrown out the window. Um, they look like they, not to be mean, one of them just looked like they didn't belong.
Yeah, no, she did not.
Like, yeah, Nadia looked like she had no business being out there. Like, Montana flurried her from the jump. Nadia just backed up and just ate some punches, got taken down, got beat up. That repeated in the second round. Like, it was literally like the same sequence. Like, flurry, takedown, beat you up. Second round more the same, and then it ends with a armbar in the second round. Yeah, not Montana gave her the blue.
Yeah.
Uh,
But Ted also looks like somebody though. Like she's 23 years old. Like she looks like somebody who can be somebody at women's flyweight. It's like her third win in the UFC, all three by submission victory.
they maybe give her a what's the flyweight? Cause they're still kind of building up. Trying to think of somebody to give her next.
Hold up, I had the rankings in front of me just a second ago. Oh, here there. I actually thought about this. I was gonna write it, but I got lazy. Mara Romero Barella or Paige Van Zandt. Well, either one of them works.
Yeah, I'm down for either of those. I think
Like,
I'd be interested to see how a Page fight goes.
yeah, like whoever you match her up with, she's 23 years old. Like, and like I said, like she's still not very good at striking, or not good like at all, if my memory serves me of her last fight correctly. So like she needs time to grow before you try to stuff her in there with Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah, but I was gonna say the thing is like that I gonna say that's the danger to like these new divisions is that they're so thin that kind of by default if you win like 2 or 3 fights in a row, it's kind of like
I guess.
kind of have to we kind of just have to throw you up there because there's no other bodies really.
See, but they also have like they got like Jessica Eye has won 3 in a row I think at flyweight. Joanne Calderwood has won a couple in a row. Kaylin Chikagian is up there. Like they got bodies to keep Valentina Shevchenko busy for a little bit.
Calderwood is coming. She wants all the smoke.
Yeah, that's the fight. That's the fight of the 3 that I would definitely most be looking forward to.
Yeah, Calderwood wants all the smoke, and I'm here for it. But props to Montana De La Rosa. Dominant win, just in control of all facets of the fight in every moment and every way possible. So congrats to her. Rounding out the main card, this was originally supposed to be Jimmy Crute versus Ryan Spann, which is a fight I was really looking forward to. But Ryan Spann had to pull out due to an injury, so we were treated to Jimmy Crute versus Sam Alvey. Um, bit of controversy, some feelings hurt.
No.
Sam was not smiling after this fight was over.
I mean, they don't get hurt. Like,
yeah.
like don't like. Okay, I get it. You're giving a thumbs up, but like,
you're
not moving. You're still shout. Like, it's called intelligible. It's like it's intelligent defense. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. Oh, I'm okay. I'm not freaking dead.
Yeah, and not a ton happened in this fight before that. Like Crute was getting off a lot of kicks, very kick heavy offense, and then he caught Albie. He caught Albie coming in with Crute caught Albie with a right, dropped him.
I'm really curious what Albie was throwing because like I saw the replay of him. It's like that doesn't look like he's throwing a punch.
Yeah, I don't. He was moving in for something. Yeah, I don't know what it was because I don't even know if like his hand came up. Like I don't know. He was moving in for something. He had something playing in his head. But before he could do anything, he had a right hand.
Yeah, he dropped like his left hand completely to like his thigh, which opened up the right hook for Crute. And I'm trying to think of like what he possibly could have thought he was going to do with it.
Yeah, well, he ended up getting dropped. Crute you guys got to stop with this walk off. Don't do that. Because Crute hesitated. I guess he thought it was over for a second, but nope. Albie stumbles back. Albie goes for a takedown, but you could really tell he was still out of it. Crute reverses position, lands some ground and pound. And albeit, like, if you watch the replay, the ground and pound wasn't anything crazy. Actually, I think some of those shots Albie actually blocked. But, like you said, you can give the thumbs up. Cool. But, like, you're not moving. You're not rolling. You're just kind of sitting there. And the fact that you just got rocked isn't really helping your cause. So,
yeah.
I get it, like
real talk. When Crute hit Albie and Albie tried to get back up, he was tripping over his own feet. And I honestly would have been fine if they had stopped it there. Because it looked like he was struggling to stand up.
Yeah, he did a mean stumble before it went back on the ground. Like, he was clearly rocked. And yeah, like you said, you can throw the thumbs up, but if you're not moving, if you're not showing me that you're, trying to advance your position, or, you can't really be surprised when they stop.
Exactly.
So it sucks for Albie. Do I think he probably could have continued? He probably could have, but
Why?
You gotta intelligently defend. You gotta move. You gotta show him something, and he was kind of just sitting there. So. It sucks for Albie, but kind of is what it is. And if I'm being completely honest, I needed Jimmy Crute to win this fight so bad. We all did. We need new faces at 205.
I thought you were talking about because if Sam Alvey had won this fight, it would have been just pain.
That too. If Albie would have ended up winning, unless he ended up by getting a knockout, we might have been in for a long night. So I was happy that Crute got this win. I'm all for any new face at 205 who's out here putting in work. So shout out to Jimmy Crute, getting the TKO finish over Sam Alvey.
I mean, it's 2 in a row. It's time to give him the Glover to share.
Right. You gotta fight the Glover Teixeiras, the OSPs, and the Jimmy Manowas of the world now, because that's just kind of how 205 works. And pray that they don't match you up with Thiago Santos.
Yeah.
I would duck him too if I was a fighter. I wouldn't fight him. Not fighting anybody with a hammer tattooed on their chest. Out of my jurisdiction.
Yeah, like I don't know, go match Crute up with like Nick Krylov or something.
Boy, did his fight not go
the way he wanted.
But I'm happy, like, between guys like Crute, Span, who I hope, covers from his injury. We got Reyes out there, Johnny Walker out there. Like, 205 is like, it's getting a little fun. I ain't gonna get too far ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Still a lot of old guys, but there's new talent out there, like new fresh talent, guys that are not like 35 years and
Yeah,
older.
and maybe some of them won't work out, but there is interest in seeing if they can or not.
Right. And at that point at 205, that's all you can ask for at this point. Like them turning out well is just a bonus. Just the fact that I'm even interested in seeing some of these guys fight is a lot, because just not even a couple years ago, boy, this division outside of like the top 3 guys, you started scratching your head seeing a lot of these names. But nah, I like we need more of this. This makes me happy. So shout out to Jimmy Crute, man. Keep doing your thing. So that was the main card. Moving on to the ESPN prelims. Got Devontae Smith versus Dong Hyung Ma. I don't remember Dong really throwing much in this fight. Devontae just, playing the outside, bouncing around, little head movement, throwing off some 1-2s, and then, boy, when he finished, did he finish?
Yeah.
Like, another guy at lightweight, got some power in his hands. Caught Dong with a nasty 1-2. Boy, was that ground and pound that he landed like really nasty. And they were not illegal shots. If you watch the replay, those were all to like the ear and like the side of the face. Because I saw some people that thought like it was illegal. But if you watch the replay, those were all actually clean shots. And boy, did he just explode on him. And that post-fight interview was just greatness. I love like the Martin walk he did after he won. Yeah, I'm a fan. I don't remember. I don't know if I watched the episode of the Contender Series that he was on, but I'm a fan now. I'm definitely looking out for this guy. Between the post-fight interview and just the violent finish, yet another person at lightweight out here doing big things. So shout out to Devontae Smith, because that was a violent finish.
Yeah. Like,
very, very violent.
we haven't seen a lot of him in the UFC between like this and knocking out Julian Erosa, but like I've liked what we've seen, even beyond just the pure violence he's able to inflict onto his opponents. Like in this fight, just great in and out movement. The finishing sequence, it was he baited Jung Hyun Ma to come in. And as Jung Hyun Ma crouched, he stepped to his right, pivoted out, and cracked him with a 1-2. And like that's good. That's really good stuff. Like moving your feet to throw a combination off a counter, like that stuff. Like especially in MMA, you don't see early in people's careers. And this is like what, his 10th fight. And I'm assuming he's had a relatively like short amount of years in the sport, like probably no more than 3 or 4. But I see now like there was a sequence in this fight where he threw a jab that that he caught Ma with, right? He proceeded to feint the jab on the next on his next exchange and throw a leg kick to Ma's lead leg. And then in the very next exchange, he feinted the leg kick and instead threw a head kick. And it didn't land, but that's like, all right, you're making reads now. And,
Right.
and you're laying traps. And like, I like that.
Yeah, for a guy his, I don't know what his age is, but age in terms of like
Experience level.
Yeah, experience. Yeah, he looks pretty polished. Like he wasn't out there. You would think for a guy with his power that he might be like really reckless, but like he was really waiting for his moments and picking his shots. He just wasn't out here like, oh, I'm just gonna throw 20,000 punches until I finish him. Like he waited for his opportunities and was, he set himself up to win that.
Exactly.
Fight.
And we won't know much about him until he fights somebody who's at least like a similar athletic level, or is able to give him rounds. But You know, I'm looking forward to seeing him fight again. Like he's on my radar too now. You know, with like 30 other people who aren't in the top 10 at lightweight, but
I just want an all lightweight card.
that'd be so cool. But then they'd have nothing to main event all their fight nights.
Right. It's just, there are just so many good lightweights, and he's just inserted himself. Potential new
You know who he
champion. So
reminds me of a little bit? He reminds me of Dominic Reyes.
I can see that.
Like
Like,
they both have like this weird amount of polish for guys who don't go very deep into fights.
right.
So,
We'll see. We'll keep an eye on him. And like I said, I like the
oh yeah,
personality.
no,
Yeah,
dude, he is a charming man.
yeah. He seems like a
He's
fun
got a
guy.
good vibe
So
going. So,
yeah. So we'll keep an eye on him. But that was a very violent finish. So definitely go back and rewatch that fight. Moving down to the next fight, Shane Young versus Austin Arnett.
if you
Um,
had just listened to commentary, you would have thought that Shane Young had lost this fight as opposed to win all 3 rounds. Like, listen, I respect the crap out of Dominic Cruz, but the dude, like, when he sees somebody who he sees himself in, like, he just kind of gets blinded. Because if you ever heard him talk about fighting, it's a lot of why, like, about his fight style, it's a lot of why would I ever put myself in a bad position? And, like, if you're an outfighter who likes to snipe at range, and then get out of dodge before somebody can counter. That is Dominic Cruz's jam, and that's what Austin Arnett tried to do. Like there was a sequence where Shane Young, who ended up winning the fight by the way by a unanimous decision. I had him winning all 3 rounds.
yeah, he got 30-27 across the
Yeah.
board.
But there was a sequence where Arnett tagged he kind of tagged. It was a glancing jab on Young, and then Young proceeds to follow it with like a series of like 3 hooks, like right, left, right, left. And he landed the last 2. And Dominic Cruz is like, "Ooh, that was a nice jab by Arnett." And I'm like, "Wow."
We just gonna ignore that 3 piece.
Like,
Huh?
all right, I see what you're looking for. But yeah, he really likes to praise dudes who fight like who he sees himself in, which it's I'm not gonna say it's unavoidable, but like I get it, especially when you have like a certain ideology on fighting like Dominic Cruz does. But like all around it was a really good fight. I like Shane Young's game. He is like bootleg Alexander Volkanovski. Like he doesn't have the athleticism or power or just cardio of Volkanovski, but he does all the same things. Like he likes to come on the inside. He likes to push you back towards the fence where he can unload his offense. He likes to shoot for the takedown along the fence, but he just doesn't have any of Volkanovski's gifts.
I don't know what the stat showed. I'd have to go back and see, but it just felt like Shane had just so much more
Oh
output.
yeah,
Like Arnett would throw, he would pot shot maybe like 1 or 2, and Shane was 2, 3, 4 flurry. Like every time he stunned Arnett, it was off of a flurry where he landed like 4. Like he was really going for it, and it just mixed that with like the pressure, and he's just always in Arnett's face. Like Arnett just couldn't really get anything off. They had a couple of good back and forth exchanges, but like overall, it just seemed like Shane just really outworked him. And what was the reach advantage? Didn't Arnett have a reach advantage of?
I
I thought he had a pretty good
no,
reach.
I want to say he had the height advantage, and Young had like a half-inch reach advantage, which was really
Oh, okay.
weird.
Yeah, because if you look at their frames, like maybe it's because like Shane fights kind of like
Shane's more bladed. Like he gets every inch of what he has when he's striking. So like and like Young's game is a lot of hooks and overhand rights and body shots. Oh, by the way, great use of body shots. and leg kicks, because Rick Little fighters don't care about that because no, only wimps get knocked out by body shots. If I'm remembering Rick Little's words correctly. I'm kind of like, if I have one criticism of Young in this fight, it's that he didn't go to the body more. I want to say he landed like in the 30s on body shots, and if you can land in the 30s on body shots, that means you could probably land in like the 50s on body shots, because that.
Yeah, they said he threw a total of like 400 punches.
Yeah, no, he was getting after it.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. Like, it's hard to beat a guy who just off of sheer volume can throw that much.
Yeah,
Like that's
you have to really try to work and earn their respect, and unless you crack them with something good, you're probably not gonna get them out of there with one punch.
Yeah.
Excuse me, especially like Young, who does a really good job of like staying over his feet. Like, he does not get out ahead of his feet with his punches like certain people. Like he stays within himself, which is a good way to avoid getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Also, shouts for that flurry at the end, where he where he turned Arnett's whole body around on that hook.
Yeah, I gotta give Arnett props. He had a lot of shots.
Oh yeah, no, he's tough as crap.
Yeah, he stayed alive. Boy, he was getting tagged. He probably did not feel good waking up this morning. Boy, his whole jaw probably gone. But yeah, that was a fun fight. Shane Young is now 2-1, I think, in the UFC. So just seems like he'll be a fun guy at featherweight to keep
I don't foresee like a title run for Young, but like, if you needed a dependable, not even action fighter, but just like a dependable test and somebody who will always put on like a good performance, like Young, I think is going to be like a consistent type of guy like that. And I respect that. Like,
yeah. He'll as long as he can not fall into a rut, he's a guy who'll probably always have a job. He should be able to stay around for.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what he adds to his game, because I don't think he's done.
Yeah. So we'll see, but that was a fun fight. Like I said, for a fight that I wasn't really, but when I looked at the card, this didn't really jump out at me. I actually thoroughly enjoyed that fight. So
this is one of the few prelims I was actually looking forward to, because the D fight was real. I remember that being really good. So I was like, yeah, I really like the Shane Young, John Lineker, Alexander Volkanovski type of fighters who are just like, I'm going to walk you down to the fence and just beat the crap out of you.
All right. With 400 punches.
Yeah.
400 punches. But yeah, congrats to Shane Young. He got 30-27s across the board for a unanimous decision. Moving on to a fight I was looking forward to. Flyweights back again. Kai France versus Raulian Paiva. Wasn't familiar with Raulian, but I remember Kai France's last fight, and I remember being thoroughly entertained. So I was looking forward to this fight, and it's where my memory is going to fail me. I don't remember this fight in like a lot of specific detail, but I remember it being really fun.
Yeah.
I had to give a lot of respect for Raulian, because it just seemed like he didn't care what Kai France was throwing at him. He's like, bro, I'm just going to keep fighting. Like, you can hit me as many times as you want, but it's not over until it's over. Yet another fight that just, keep flyweight alive. These guys have just been showing. It just seemed like ever since that, like, rumor has been thrown in the atmosphere, dudes have just been showing out. And this was just another fight where Kai France and Raulian just both put on a really good performance. Really fun back and forth. People getting tagged, scrambles, just good flyweight stuff. Like, just really good flyweight action. And for Raulian, for that being, I think that was his UFC debut. Obviously didn't get a win, but he did enough to where I would want to see him fight again.
And he'll probably be at bantamweight, though. if we're being honest, which sucks.
Yeah, he was.
But he's got a
Yeah.
frame for bantamweight, so works.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Dude, legit was just like, I don't care what you throw at me, Kai Frank. I'm just going to stand in front of you and throw 6 punch combinations.
Right.
Like he was really stiff to start off the fight, but like once he got a beat on what France was trying to do, I'm sorry, Kara France, because that's apparently his last name. His first name is not Kai Kara, as
Yeah, Cruz did that for like the first 2 rounds of the fight.
yeah. So Kara France, his game seemed to be, okay, I'm going to throw the left hook, overhand right, and one of those punches will land. And it did, because Paiva likes to stand straight up in the air, and he's tall. So it makes for a big target for Kara France to hit. But at the same time, Paiva was just like, F it. I'm going to plant my feet, and I'm going to slip the first punch. And after that, I'm going to just throw 3 random punches, and one of them will land. And it worked. I actually had Paiva winning the fight, but I'm not mad at a Kara France like decision. Like, it's not. It's defendable.
Yeah.
But it was a fun fight.
So keep flyweight alive,
Yeah.
man. Just keep flyweight alive.
And if not, everybody has to go fight in Ryzen. And who wants that? They only have 6 cards a year.
that is true.
I mean, I guess some of the I guess they need the English speaking. I guess one needs English speaking flyweights now for DJ to fight, because
yeah, especially if we're gonna be on
Yeah.
TV. You know, throw a couple of them in there. But yeah, man, keep these guys around, man. They're really putting on really good fights. And like I said, if you compare like just the overall talent pool of flyweight now to when, like, not even just maybe a couple, like 3 years ago, it's gotten like a lot better. Like there are a lot more really solid fighters at flyweight than compared to like a few
and
years
there's
ago.
still a whole bunch that aren't in the UFC.
Right.
So
keep the division around, man. Dudes are out here showing out. So shout out to Kai Kara France. He won a split decision. Last fight on the ESPN prelims, Kyung-Ho Kang is back, going against Teruto Ishihara. I was pretty sure this fight was going to be nothing but fun, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Lots of chaos.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Yeah, there was a point in this fight where they stood and traded for like a minute straight. Dudes were just winging punches for like a minute straight.
I was really upset when Ishihara dropped Kang, because I'm like, damn, now Arnold Lobov is better than Kang. But he recovered.
Yeah, man, he came back. He came back.
And then he
man.
realized Ishihara doesn't have a ground game.
Speaking of the ground game, I thought that was really slick when he had Ishihara's back. He didn't really have his hooks in, and it looked like he was going to slide off. And then he put Ishihara in like a full Nelson to like... he had been a full Nelson for like 3 seconds to like get his balance back, because it looked like he was going to fall off. And then he just ended up taking his back.
Oh, yeah.
And he got the choke in. I thought that was really slick, the way he did it.
Dude's a tremendous grappler.
Yeah. And I didn't know that. Did he leave for a military?
Yes, he was. He spent 2.5 years in the military.
Yeah. So, and he was a guy before he came to the UFC. I'd had my eye on him because I'd heard a lot about him. So good to see him fighting again. Good to see him in the one column. But
this is the second fight back, I want to say, because he fought Ricardo Ramos, I guess.
Yeah, but it just seems like we don't. It just seems like I go so long without seeing him fight, even though it's only been. Well, yeah, he fought last year. That was in
Well, he's
August.
Korean, so the UFC only lets him fight when they go to the Eastern Hemisphere.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which sucks, but
yeah. But nah, he's been pretty solid in the UFC. I don't know what his overall record is, but it's pretty good. And he's actually fought pretty solid competition. He seems like just a guy. He's gonna put on fun fights, win or lose. You want to throw him on a card because you want some action. You want to see something crazy happen. Throw him on a card. It'll get done, whether he wins or loses. But no, this was an awesome fight. Like you said, just pretty much rock'em sock'em robots until Kyung Ho Kang realized, oh, if I go on the ground, he can't see me over here. And that's kind of how that went. But awesome fight from Kyung Ho Kang. Fun fight from both. Shout out to Ishihara also. But Kyung Ho Kang won via a rear naked choke in the first round. And the last two fights, moving on to the Fight Pass prelims, we had Jalen Turner versus, I don't know if it's Callan Potter or Callan, I'm not sure.
Callan.
Callan Potter. This was Callan's debut, and boy, unfortunately for him, he got dispatched in under a minute. Talk about finishing sequences. This was a nasty one too. I think he caught Potter. Jalen caught Potter with like a right hand, then like a left, then a body kick, then like a right, then like a body punch. It was a crazy like Tekken combination that he caught Potter with. Got a little ground and pound on the ground, and that was over. That was a very violent but beautiful combination that he ended Potter with. And again, was Jalen Turner from the Contender Series?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they made him fight Vicente Luque for some reason.
Well, either way, in the similar vein of Devontae Smith, really violent finish, also at lightweight. So this division just seems to just turn out just a lot of good talent. I mean, he's still young in his career, so obviously have to see where he goes from here. But awesome finish. He got the job done in under a round. Hardly really took any damage and put on a show for the 53 seconds that the fight lasted.
Yeah. Lot of good young talent on this card. Gotta give it that. And
this last fight, it's really hard for me to comment on this because this is actually the only fight I didn't get to rewatch.
It was a pretty good one. Jonathan Martinez takes a decision win over I was about to call him Waluigi.
I was thinking the same.
Luigi Burin. It was a really fun competitive fight. Burin, was the bigger, stronger dude, but he had his heart set on the takedown, and he was getting it. Some nice, really like inside outside trip takedowns. But once it went to the ground, Martinez just continually found ways to get reversals, to get sweeps. He got on top, would take the back, got mount, and Burin just had no answer for that. Like, he got up a couple times, but almost immediately went back to the takedown and just ended up getting taken down again, or getting his back taken again. Like, he never got close to a finish, but Martinez did a really good job of just like getting position, getting control, and then reversing once Burin would get on top. So I think the closest to a finish this fight came was when Burin had Martinez's back, and then he went for an armbar, but he ended up falling off. He ended up like falling off his back, and Martinez just managed to get back on top. But it was a fine grappling match. It was probably Burin's last fight in the UFC.
Yeah. I think all I remember I remember enjoying this fight while it was on. But I think like my lasting memory is in the post fight, and he said vote for Pedro. I was like, oh, I like this guy. That's all I remember. But I remember it being an entertaining fight. But that was UFC 234. For a card that obviously had a lot going on, like numerous fight cancellations, and then the bomb literally at the last second with uh, Whitaker and Gastelum and how that went down. Like I said earlier, what was it, a pay-per-view quality card in terms of like star power and all that? Nah, not really. But if you just judge it on the quality of the fights, pretty entertaining night. Like, you look at these names, not a ton really pops out unless you're like in the know and you know about some of these guys and maybe even following them. But nah, if you just watch the fights, I would say this was a pretty entertaining night of fights. Like, this card was a lot better than what I thought it would be. I can't really look at any. There weren't like any bad fights on this card. Pretty much in every fight there was something going on. Like I said, just not heavy in terms of star power, but the quality of fights was there. Like, there were good performances. People were showing out. Got some violent finishes.
I think the important thing is a bunch of young talent got a lot of UFC experience.
Yeah. Which is very important. So a lot of these names we'll probably see, probably on some more upcoming prelims, maybe on other ESPN Plus cards or other pay-per-views. And now they'll be a little more familiar. So next time you see a name like a Devontae Smith, a Jalen Turner, a Shane Young, a Jimmy Crute, you'll remember that you saw them on these cards and they had like really good performances.
Or if you didn't watch, you remember us talking about them and be like, "Oh, he's good."
Right. Because we told you they're good and we don't lie. So, and then like the main event was just like such a, like this for as much crap there was surrounding this card in terms of just fights not happening and injuries and all that. This card ended. We've seen so many UFC cards end where like your heart just gets ripped out and stomped on and just like thrown away. This was one of those cards where like you left and you felt good.
Yeah.
Like you felt good about what happened.
First Jose Aldo, now Anderson Silva.
Right. So the MMA gods took away a fight, but they gave us a feel good moment. So in this day and age in MMA, I will take that as a moral victory, and I will be grateful. So yeah, UFC 234, man. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, go back and check it out. Like I said, not heavy in terms of star power, but all of the fights pretty much were entertaining, and the main event was worth it. So go watch that.
Real quick, I forgot to mention this. Anderson Silva mentioned he wanted to fight in Curitiba, and some of the fights that were thrown out were a rematch with Chris Weidman, which no, and a rematch with Nick Diaz, who Anderson Silva claimed to have talked with on the phone, and said, "Hey, do you want to fight again?" And apparently Nick said yes.
Hey man, if that's gonna be Anderson's retirement fight, I'm all for it.
Like what that Curitiba card has, it's probably gonna have Amanda Nunes. It's probably gonna have it has Rose Namajunas versus Jessica Andrade. I mean, it might have Jose Aldo, and it might have Anderson Silva. That's a good card.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
I mean, it'll probably help with sales too, if we're being honest. So.
Yeah, because people love the Diaz brothers.
Yeah,
and albeit Nick hasn't fought in like 80 years, but
he hasn't fought. I mean, technically, he hasn't fought since he lost to GSP, right? Because the last Anderson Silva fight didn't count.
Oh yeah, because Anderson tested positive, and then
Nick tested positive.
Nick tested positive for what we know he would test positive for. But I'm all for that, man. That would be another entertaining. There'll be a lot of gifts after that.
Yeah, but it's shaping up. Like, I didn't have much hopes for 2019 in MMA, but it's shaping up that there's some good stuff that could potentially happen this year. There's a lot of feel good going around.
Yeah, we have to take these moments while we have them.
Right.
So yeah, that was UFC 234, man. So go back and give it a look. Pretty entertaining card. Definitely worth the watch. This is the second week in a row we've been under 3 hours. We are on.
Well, that's not happening next week. I'm gonna just put it out there now. There is 2 Bellator cards, the UFC's debut on ESPN TV proper, and of course Invicta, as well as Leo Santa Cruz versus Rafael Rivera, which I want to say is happening on Fox. Let me check that real quick. As well,
I'm gonna believe in us and say that.
yeah, that's on Fox. And then Rob Brandt, who just picked up the middleweight world championship, who will be fighting on ESPN or ESPN Plus. I can't remember.
I mean, all right. So I guess real quick, 'cause we're all good on time. Quick previews of next week. So Bellator cards coming up. We got Bellator 215, Mitrione versus Karatanov. I mean, if I'm being real, a lot of this card we don't got to cover. Outside of Mitrione, Karatanov, Logan Storley, Ian Pascu, Eduardo Dantes, and Toby Miocic, and probably Amanda Bell and Amber Labrat.
You don't want to talk about Paige Van Zandt's husband?
You on here? Where
Austin Vanderford. Isn't that him?
Oh, is it?
I believe so.
Oh, well, maybe he'll get a footnote. we'll throw him in there somewhere.
My favorite thing is when you look up his name, it says Bellator signs undefeated Austin Vanderford, Paige Van Zandt's husband. I mean, let the man have his own identity, right?
Nah. This is the Misha Tate, what's his name situation.
We also have America's tallest heavyweight on the card, Steve Mowry, checking in at a very tall 6'8", with his awkward lanky self. Titan FC veteran.
And then we got the big one, man. Bellator 216, headlined by MVP versus Paul Daly.
Oh boy.
Also got the return of Vitaly Minikov versus Czech Congo. For whatever reason, we got Roy Nelson and Krokop fighting again. Lord.
These people like matches, bro.
we got Eric Silva sighting against Yaroslav Amasov. We got Valerie Lareda, who I think we mentioned on this podcast. Wasn't she like a taekwondo?
She was a hopeful for the Olympic taekwondo team, but I read something where like her family was falling apart, like her mom like needed care 24/7, so her dad took over that while she raised her sisters, and it was just this whole messy thing. And she's only 20 something, so like, if she's surrounded by a good team, like she's an American top team, like if they're really focusing in on her, she could be something good, like something special. So just on background and presumed athleticism.
So got that going down next week, and then like you said, obviously the big one, UFC on ESPN1. This is actually a pretty good card, man. You got Velasquez versus Ngannou. You got Felder versus James Vick. Cynthia Calvajo versus Courtney Casey. Kron Gracie making his debut against Bruce Leroy. Vicente Luque and Brian Barberena. Aljamain Sterling, Jimmy Rivera, Miles Jury, Andre Feely, KGB Lee, Ashley Lee Evans.
Dude, Alexandra Albu? They found her? Or is she done getting her master's in Russian trademarking law? Like, because that's where she was, apparently.
Oh, you got Jody Escobar and Jessica Penne. And then we got a fight that I dare anybody to try to predict in Renan Barao versus Luke Sanders.
Luke Sanders wins for 3 minutes, not 3 minutes, 2.5 rounds, and then Barao takes him down and gets him in like an arm triangle.
This is one of that fight is gonna be fun. And you also have Scott Holtzman versus Nick Lentz. So yeah, a lot of good fights next week. But you know what? I'm gonna stay positive. I'm gonna believe in us that somehow we'll get through all of that in under 3 hours.
There's also an Invicta card.
No, snap. Who's that?
Vanessa Porto and Pearl Gonzalez.
Oh yeah, that's for the belt.
Yes, and then they have the 4-woman flyweight tournament underneath, featuring Milan Dudieva, Deanna Bennett, Miranda Maverick, and Karina Rodriguez. Also, Erin Blanchford's on the card. Blanchfield, my bad. The Eddie Bravo Invitational winner or flyweight. Yeah, those are words. Yeah, no, just a whole bunch of shit to get to next week, man.
All right, maybe we. No, I'm gonna stay firm. I'm gonna stay firm in my belief. I'm gonna say we cover all that in about 2:45.
Better hope for a bunch of first round finishes then.
You're right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, a lot of good fights going down next week.
Oh wait, did I forget something?
No, there can't be more fights.
I want to say there was like a kickboxing card next week. It might have been like a crush card or something. But I have the folder right here. Yeah, it was a crush card. All right, we're good. Unless you guys want to watch Crush.
No, I mean the fights are fun.
Japanese kickboxing. It's great.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a boring Japanese kickboxing fight.
All right. Oh, and if you have Fight Pass, before you cancel it, because why would you still have it? There's a CFC.
No, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I do too, but I'm a degenerate. There's a CFFC card on Friday, I believe. So.
Hold on, one has a card next week too?
Oh yeah, it's primarily like Muay Thai, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we got Dae Hwan Kim versus Shuya Kamakubo. Yeah, they're wearing Thai bands, so yeah, I'm assuming that is a Thai fight.
Yeah. Nano versus Han for the Muay Thai Bantamweight World Championship.
Lord. All right, so yeah, a lot of fights to talk about.
And presumably it's a 3-day weekend, so because it also might snow, so that sucks.
We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, so you guys will definitely be hearing.
From wait! Before we should mention the ESPN Plus, not ESPN Plus, the ESPN One card. It will be on Sunday, February.
Oh yeah, 17th.
Yes,
that is on Sunday. Yeah.
So just in case anybody was going to stay at home on Saturday and try to watch Cain Velasquez return, it's not going to be until Sunday.
And I think, I don't mean to keep on rambling, but I think this actually starts at like a good time. Yeah. So the
main card starts at 9, I think.
Yeah, so you got the early prelims on ESPN Plus at 5:30, ESPN Prelims at 7, and then the main card starts at 9.
That's basically what the Fox cards were, or the FS1 cards were, except they're an hour earlier, which means presumably we'll be done by, because it's a 6-fight main card, but presumably we'll be done by midnight. Yeah. Or 12:30, which is so much better than 1:30 or 2 o'clock or whatever.
Yes. The ESPN cards are paced so much better. So yeah, be on the lookout for all that next week. There'll be a ton of people getting punched and kicked in the face. So there'll be more than enough to talk about. But that has been today's show. So go back and watch all of the fights that we covered and mentioned, from Bellator to boxing to UFC 234. But as always, end of the show. So time for our parting shots and shout outs. My shout out, none of my parting shots or shout outs are MMA or even sports related. But my shout out is going to go to an album. Rest in peace, Sean Price. He put out how do you pronounce that word? Posthumous?
Posthumous.
Posthumous.
Yeah, I think.
He had put out a posthumous album that was produced by Small Professor. The album is entitled 86 Witness. It came out as of this recording like 2 days ago, something like that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it's a 10-track. I think they consider this an EP. I don't know if it's an EP or album. It don't matter. I'm calling it an album. 10-track project that came out a couple days ago. Just vintage Sean Price. For 10 tracks, he's slapping all of your favorite rappers. And I didn't know this. Apparently, the album it's called 86 Witness. It's dedicated to the year 1986. So a lot of the references are from things that happened that year. One of my favorite songs, Refrigerator P, referring to former NFL lineman, Refrigerator Perry. Lot of whatever happened in '86, they talked about it. But no, like just vintage Sean Price album. If you know Sean Price, if you know the kind of hip hop that he makes, this is just very on brand. So shout outs to Duck Down Music and Coal Mine Records who teamed up to put this together. I want to say, from what I understand, I think some of this album had been recorded prior, but it's like just now being released. But nah, it's a good album. Like if you're a Sean Price fan, you'll love this. Great features, of course, Rock from Helter Skelter. You got Guilty Simpson, Quelly Chris, Your Old Drew, Grief the Lost Cause, and a couple others. But nah, just really, really good. Just really grimy, gutter, slap your favorite rapper kind of hip hop. So shout outs to Sean Price, and shout outs to everybody who was involved in this project and then helped put it together. A nice posthumous release for Sean Price. It was a really, really dope album. So shout outs to that. And my parting shot, man, parting shot to AMC. I almost feel like I inadvertently thought this into existence. So as of this recording, we're recording this on February 10th. So I think the Walking Dead premiere for the rest of the season is today. And I was just thinking the other day that I'm on the fence on whether I'm even going to continue to watch The Walking Dead, because I heard now that Michonne is leaving, and like this season was getting better, but I just kind of feel like the more I watch the show, I'm more watching it, and it just feels like a chore more than like I actually want to watch it. So my thought process was, you know what, man, I'm just kind of going to just walk away and wipe my hands clean of The Walking Dead, and I'll just watch Into the Badlands, and that'll be like the one TV show that's not anime that I'll watch. Then I find out, good news, Into the Badlands is coming back. The final 8 episodes for season 3 will be coming on March 24th. Great news. I was looking forward to it because season 3 was really, really, really good for the first half. And then in the same bomb, they drop on me that after season 3, the show's getting canceled. So there will be no more Into the Badlands after the season's over. It just shot the AMC because, like, this, I really hope this show gets picked up, because this show had so much good going for it, and I feel like AMC just really dropped the ball in terms of, you had a really good product. Like, in terms of action, this was probably like one of the best action shows on TV, on par with like a Daredevil in terms of like fight choreography. The show was progressively getting better every season. You had a really diverse cast of characters in terms of all kinds of representations, blacks, whites, Asians. Everybody was in the show. Didn't feel forced. Like, it was all natural. Just, this show had so much good going for it, and AMC just like continually dropped the ball on like promoting it. And it seemed like after every season, we never knew if it was coming back because they wouldn't really talk about it. And now it's just like getting dropped, and it's like, come on, like, what are y'all doing? Like, now we're stuck with The Walking Dead, which has been dragging on like way too long. Just, I don't know. I don't understand why you get rid of the show. So shouts to y'all for not just, you had a good thing going and you're just kind of fumbling it away. But I hope Into the Badlands gets picked up. Shout outs to all the actors, Daniel Wu, Nick Frost, everybody on that show, man. It's a really good show. If you enjoy martial arts, watch this show. It's awesome. Just a lot of fun characters, great fights. The story just progressively gets better and better. But AMC just fumbled it away, man. They don't know what they're doing. So shout out y'all, whoever's in your, I don't know what you call them, executive, you important people who sit at the table and make decisions. You guys are dumb.
They need that money for the Walking Dead spinoffs.
That's a whole nother. You guys are doing Walking Dead movies. Like, who? God.
Just read the comics, people.
Yeah. At this point, that's probably what I should just do. You know, I don't know. I might just wipe my hands clean and just, like, Walking Dead started out really great for like the first like 5 seasons, and then it had a slump. Like, I get it. All shows have a slump, But then it just dragged on for too long, and the whole Negan thing got dragged out really long. And it just almost seems like now that the show is getting better, I kind of don't even care. Because y'all dragged it on for too long. All the stars are leaving. It's like, what am I here for? And then AMC takes away Into the Badlands from me. So I don't like y'all right now. So shots at AMC. But shout outs to all the actors in Into the Badlands. You guys did a really great job. It was a really awesome show. And I hope somehow Netflix, Hulu, somebody picks it up. Because it deserves to be picked up. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, quick shout outs to Aaron Magruder, who wrote a new Boondocks strip that I did not read yet.
Yeah, you're out a few of them.
Yeah, it's out there. So I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if the Boondocks are coming back. But
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. But hey, man, I'll take a strip. I'll take that.
I still gotta get that collected edition. I'm gonna go all the Boondocks comic strips.
Yeah. But so those are my parting shots and shout outs.
All right, no shots this week, but I mentioned them. We mentioned them at the start of the show, but shouts to Ray Borg. Just just like all the crap that's been thrown at him over the past year and a half. Starting with the birth of his son, who has since required like 5 or 6 brain surgeries, to the stuff that with the McGregor trolley through the bus incident, to like adopting his niece and then taking her to her first father-daughter dance after her father died. Like, the dude's a stand-up dude. Like, how can you not root for him? I really hope he has a job, because Lord knows what they're gonna do all the flyweights. So shouts to him. I hope everything's going well for him. Shouts to what was the organization called? Wrestle Like a Girl, I believe the organization is called. They started a petition to get 15,000 signatures to show the NCAA that there is I don't know if market's the right word, but a desire for more NCAA universities to pick up women's wrestling. I believe there are 49 colleges in the country that offer a women's wrestling program across all NCAA schools, so D1 through D3. And they're not recognized by the NCAA. They are actually run by the WCWA. So they do not actually have a a D1, D2, 3, D3. So it's literally just 50 colleges. It's not like the 390 NCAA D1 schools, like 50. No, it's like across all the universities. So I believe some junior colleges also have it, but I don't know any off the top of my head. But this group, Wrestle Like a Girl, that dedicates to the advancement of women's and girls and women's wrestling. They started a petition last week on change.org to get 15,000 signatures to show that there is a desire for more for more colleges to start a women's wrestling program. They're currently less than a week later, they are sitting at 14,320. If you want, and I get that there are not a lot of people who listen to this podcast who probably follow collegiate wrestling or even amateur wrestling at all. But if you're an MMA fan and you want to you want to see more women's prospects, better women's prospects coming into the sport, then you should be fully behind this. Go sign the petition. Go share it with your friends, because this is where the next crop of top, your Ronda Rousey level athletes are going to come from.
All right, and I mean we talked about it plenty of times before. We want some of these women's divisions to be able to build up and morph into something, but the talent has to come from somewhere, and everybody's got to start somewhere.
Right.
So if you can get a couple of these wrestlers who maybe, were thinking about going somewhere else, or,
Yeah, and again, like even beyond just the MMA implications, I do believe like women should have the a bit like wrestling can like sports in general, like especially like sports where you can get a scholarship for that can save so many people's lives. Like the like, and it's a little different with wrestling than it's from basketball, but like how many dudes who are in the NBA right now would be on some foul shit if they were still like if there was no scholarships for basketball? Like if there was not a
Right.
place where they were allowed to be good at this sport. And like you want that for women too, and you want that in like wrestling.
Right. Basically, you're creating more opportunities. You're giving them now. These women they have more options.
Exactly.
And in this day and age, options that's everything.
Yes.
Like you need options. You need people to have other avenues that.
Like you want a 5-year-old little girl who goes to wrestling to know that there's an opportunity for her waiting. Like there is something to aspire to, you know?
Right.
Like that like once she hits like middle school, there's not just a giant wall in front of her stopping her from doing what she loves to do.
Right.
So like I hope more colleges pick it up. East Stroudsburg picked up a wrestling program. Said they were starting one this fall. So that was big news from. So, like, and I know a bunch of schools in Jersey picked. I think Jersey picked up as a program this year, like the state sports authority commission, whatever. So like it's growing. It's one of the fastest growing sports, women's wrestling. So props to Wrestle the Gap. Props to Wrestle Like a Girl. Please go sign the petition. It's easy to find. It's on change.org. Hashtag Wrestle the Gap. And my last shout out is to the My Fitness app by Under Armour because of it I've lost a shit ton of weight that I had no idea how to lose before it. If you want to lose weight, go count your calories.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm only 206.6 pounds away from my goal, which is to be weightless.
You just become like an entity in the air.
Yeah, I want to fly. That's basically where this is going.
Oh man, that's what's up. Yeah, the weight loss journey is real, man. I've been on mine since I don't know. It's been some years now. And I've fluctuated up and down, and I finally got to a point where I'm like hitting a good stride. I actually go to the doctor on Monday, so we'll see how that goes.
See, I've been putting it off because I know he's just going to tell me you've gotten really fat since the last time I've seen you.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing. I don't feel like so. Like a month, like in December, I weighed 220 pounds. I'm 5'10". Like, if you looked at me, you would not know I weigh 220 pounds. Like, there's a security guard at my job who is like a full 2 inches taller than me and is jacked as shit. Like, his muscles are bigger than my head, and he weighs like 195 pounds.
It's weird how that works.
Right? I'm like, dude, are you taking helium shots in the morning? Like,
right. Like,
but
two people can weigh close to the same, but we look like completely different.
But no, I'm 30. I was 30 pounds heavier than him. But I could hide behind him. He's so big.
Yeah, man, it's real out here. But no, that's good. Like you guys should. Yeah, man, take your health and fitness easy. I'm a living testimony of what can go wrong when you don't. I've had my fair share of hospital visits. They are not fun.
Nah.
They are not fun.
And it just feels so much better on your joints, man. Like,
yeah,
God damn.
you feel better. You have more energy. Like mentally, you feel like a lot more alert. And I didn't realize how sluggish I felt until I started losing weight. And I was like, how was I even like?
Yeah, like how do you function?
Yeah, how was I even getting around and functioning like this?
Like, dude, I used to walk. Like, what the?
Right. So like, Yeah, man, you guys like not to turn this into some super preachy, but like if you can get your 30 minutes in a day, work out, 4 days a week, wherever you need to start. Everybody's got to start somewhere.
Like it's like you don't even have to work out to lose weight. That's the crazy part. Like that's
Yeah,
what I've learned.
yeah, you can just eat. If you can change the way your eating habits are, I tell people the first easiest thing to cut out is soda or any sweet drink. Like
Soda.
and you'll notice an immediate like result. You'll stop feeling bloated. Your stomach will start to shrink because you're not, sugars are very like inflammatory.
Yeah.
So you're removing that.
Soda and chips.
Yeah, chips is a hard one for me.
like I feel you, but like I learned, like I never realized how much one potato chip like or one bag of potato chips is because I used to eat them shits in like one sitting, and then I looked at the back of the thing. It's like, hey, this bag has like 26 servings of potato chips, and like it's 150 calories for 13 chips. I'm like, wait, what?
It it adds up. Yeah, like if you guys can get into the habit, like eat healthier, pay attention to your serving sizes on the back of your food.
Drink water.
Drink a lot of water. Keep yourself hydrated. Stay away from. I'm not gonna tell you to never drink a soda, but just really, really, really cut back on it.
And if you drink a soda, go for like a jog or something.
Yeah. And real talk, like if any of you guys out there have any questions in regards to weight loss, like I said, this has been a really personal journey for me because it has like literally affected my life. I've been in the hospital because like high blood pressure. I was like borderline diabetic. So I had to literally like make life changes on the fly or very bad things were going to happen to me. So I've been through this struggle. So if anybody has any questions or you want advice, help, you can reach out. I'll be more than enough to share you my little routines. I'm not, by any stretch of the imagination like a D1 athlete, but I get by.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. I'm working on it. So yeah, take care of yourselves. You gotta take care of yourself so you continue to listen to our podcast.
We need them numbers.
Right.
We can't afford to.
Right. So y'all gotta stay alive. If y'all die, we die. So, help me help you. But yeah, man, that's it for today's show. As always, man, give us a listen on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play. Send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. Hit us up on social media, Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Instagram page. Follow me on Twitter, @SerialSensei, and all of that good stuff. So with that being said, as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. Happy Black History Month. Till next time, we will catch you guys later.